Among us, spirits are born. Hello, everybody. Mina not here yet. Mina died. Mina's dead. Oh, Mina messaged me. Oh, Mina got a phone call. Okay, we'll hang out. How's everybody doing today? How's your Mondays? Hold on, I'm opening my energy. Hold on. You didn't hear anything. My Monday's been very cold. It snowed here over the weekend, and it's like the fucking worst. It's so cold. I hate it. It's the worst. I spent my day working on model stuff. Not like modeling, but like working on the model. Y'all are gonna... I did some stuff that you will see on Saturday. And I think you might like it. It's very fun. I want to do a lot more stuff. I want to create like an actual canon for Luka 58, I think, and I'm working on it. I hope y'all liked the bit on Sunday. It was a good bit. I liked that bit. See, outside of the Luka 58 streams, I'm allowed to kind of break canon a little bit. It was fun. I liked it. That was a good stream, though. I had fun. I always have fun in the Luka 58 streams, which really makes me want to do them more, but they're like a lot of work, actually. A surprising amount of work for me just reading the news and then talking about hyperfixation shit. Charles, you should always know. Actually, you know what? I guess I have said that we don't do bits or goofs or gaffs enough that it has started to just take effect. Everything on this stream is done in absolute sincerity, and there are no bits ever. Never a bit. It's always serious, and it's always happening. Forever. That was good. It was good. I had fun. I always like streams where I get to have fun. Which isn't to say that I don't have fun on every stream, but the Luka 58 streams are very much the ones where I fully get to, like, do my shit. And I think that the Darkness and Dungeon streams will also be good for that, because like that is birthed from my brain space. Even if I guess people have done it elsewhere, I had the idea. So even if somebody else has done the idea elsewhere, I still had the idea. It just kind of sucks. Like maybe I should have looked this up before, but I think somebody literally did a show called Darkest in Dungeons, and I'm like, oh. Alright. Cool. Great. Oh no. My life is over. I'm a hack. I'm a fraud. Just like those no good Red Letter Media boys. Fuck. And then Needle said, like, yeah, people do it on the Darkest Dungeon Discord all the time. And I'm like, ah, fuck. Shit. I'm unoriginal. But, at the very least, at least the Luka 58 stuff is fully original. I'm proud of that. That's good. I have that, at least. That is my one fully creative endeavor. And the Darkness and Dungeon streams are still fun. Even if it is just an excuse for me to hang out with my friends more. As most streams these days tend to be. Have a good lurk, Charles. Hope you have a good stream. As I always do. I always hope Charles have a good stream. I want Charles to be famous more than I want me to be famous. Because being famous sounds like a lot of work. And if Charles is famous, I will at least benefit from the trickle-down effect. Like, perfect. Ideal. That is the way things should be. Damn, Mina taking a sec. Mina really do die. Become famous at crouton.net. What is that? Should I go there? Is that a real website? Oh, it just is. Alright, that's very good. I have never seen crouton.net before. Have y'all seen Mario Blue Gloves.info? I think this is still up. I think this is still up. Oh, hell yeah, it is. Fuck yeah, it's still up. Best website on the internet. My favorite one. That's the best one. How y'all feeling about this case today? I'm excited. I'm like so thrilled. Oh wait, Val messaged me. They got, oh my god. Steph is so fucking powerful. Steph is the most powerful non-binary on the planet, I think. It's a fucking Hypnospace page? No, come on. That's... Give Mario Blue Gloves more credit than that. It's totally lit. Oh, hello, Mina. Hello?
Useless invention. Why did we create them?
What, phone calls?
Just phones in general.
Phones in general, so you could have a computer in your pocket.
But is that worth being bothered at 8 at night?
No, I don't think so. Hello, Mina.
Oh, well.
That means I can use my fancy transition now. I was just talking about how MarioBlueGloves.info is a totally legitimate website that you should all visit.
That sure sounds legit.
It is. Mario, you have to know, Mario has blue gloves. It's fact.
Just like Sonic's got blue arms.
Yeah. I hate that I know what you're talking about. It makes me so angry that I know what you're talking about.
We both know what we're talking about against our will. So.
Yeah, anything we know about anything related to that is against our will.
Yeah, we were being held at knife point by the collective internet mass.
Yeah. How's Mina today?
I'm pretty good. I ate a lot last night, so I fell asleep and slept for like 10 hours.
Halloween hog.
Yeah, I ordered 2 pounds of garlic parmesan wings.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And then they had an additional thing for $1 more. I could also get a big box of garlic parmesan fries.
Oh, fuck yeah. I would demolish those fries.
So I chose to live deliciously.
This is good. This is good to do, and I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too, even if it put me into a food coma for
the entire rest of the day.
Yeah, but
And in
I'm
fact,
here
I
now.
feel like you were in a food coma all day today, basically, because I barely seen you around.
More or less. I mean, I woke up a couple times because my phone was being blown up by chuds, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah, well, what else is new?
That's so, like, I can't believe this happened twice, where someone tries to organize a harassment campaign and then it fails because one of them tells me.
This is the experience of being trans on the internet. Unfortunately.
I think in my case, it's the experience of being fat online, to be honest. It seems like that's what they were picking on more than anything.
I mean, the last one, that was just, Crypto Bros last time.
Last time was FNAF fans. Sorry, no.
Oh.
Last time was Crypto Bros. The time before that was FNAF fans.
So this is the third time now.
This is the third time, yeah. Okay, so it has happened 3 times then. I forgot that the Crypto Bros did it once, too.
You have 3 nickels now.
15 cents. Wow.
Damn. You can buy a whole comic book with that in 1956. Alright, let's...
If this was 1901, I could buy 15 penny candies.
Oh my god. God, remember when you can just go to a store and get candy for, like, dirt cheap?
I know, I miss those days.
Now we have to fucking order them in bulk to get any kind of a deal. God damn.
I know. It's like $8 for a bag of Maltesers now. What's the economy come to?
I love like almond M&Ms, but holy shit, they're really expensive. And also, holy shit, almonds are so fucking bad for the environment. Feels bad every time I buy a bag, so I'm like, ugh, this is expensive and it sucks to have. Now we have candy microtransactions. You have to get a season pass for your Swedish fish. All right, it's time. It's time to do it.
This is it. All of our lowering has been leading up to this.
It is time for my brain to be the hugest that it has ever been.
It is time for direct action.
Fuck yeah! Party! Fight! But we do have a tryout to do, so maybe keep it outside. Alright. The final court until we travel through time.
Yeah, for our epilogue.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of thinking about it. It's an epilogue.
Yeah.
That's the victory lap case. All right. Let's do it. I have to do voices.
I know.
Fuck.
It's been a hot minute.
I had a robot voice help me yesterday. I don't have that today. It's complete chaos outside. Let's just say the Defiant Dragon supporters demonstrating for Dirk's freedom have taken a very special interest in the outcome of today's trial.
Look about ready to string us up if we lose.
Trials here are pretty much like the ones back home, but with one major difference. The divination seance, and also the fact that the gallery wants to murder us at the drop of a hat. I probably forgot that part. The victim's final memories will become a matter for deliberation.
I've heard about that.
Wouldn't Apollo know what this is?
I mean, he was living in the mountains for, like, his entire childhood, so...
Yeah, but, like, literally his dad was the leader of the revolution.
I don't think he was, like, all that privy to it, though. I feel like he kept his kids kind of more in the dark about that.
That's fair.
So, you know, they're youngins. They're off running around naked and falling in the creek and whatever.
They're too busy almost fucking drowning.
Multiple times. Well, they haven't stopped you from winning your cases here in crying.
True, but it wasn't easy. Still, the memories of the dead are simply another piece of evidence. There's always a way to deal with them if your client is truly innocent.
Well, I know Dirk is innocent, but...
yeah. You have a big secret! A truth that is difficult to accept.
Dirk, what is that secret you're keeping? Hey, AJ.
Hey, what's up, Dats? You shitheel?
Here you go, just like I promised.
Wait, where's all of our evidence?
It's there. That's just the latest piece you got.
Oh! The badge confused me.
Thanks, Tats. Wait, weren't you arrested by the police yesterday? Yeah, and I spent the night in the slammer. I had a fine meal, a shower, even a bed. What more can I ask for?
That actually sounds way better than where we're staying.
Just remember, AJ, if Dirk's found guilty today, well, I'll probably be found guilty under the Defense Culpability Act, too. Yeah, now you just said something to that effect.
No pressure or anything. It's fine. Only if you lose, you're going to be executed twice.
That bitch Goron wants to take advantage of today to crush our revolution once and for all.
Wait, did you say bitch?
That's what he was thinking.
That's fair.
The fate of the revolution and every Kuranese person rests on this trial. No pressure, AJ.
More pressure.
We're counting on you, AJ.
If you don't win, our country is fucked and every person in the country is fucked.
It'll be fine. I'm gonna win this one, you'll see.
The trial will begin shortly, Apollo. Let's make our way into the courtroom.
Right.
They'll execute us, then execute our corpses. Yeah. They'll give us a lethal injection, and then they'll behead our corpses. What do they do here? Like firing squad, do you think?
It's definitely firing squad and beheading as well, because they talk about beheading a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
But like the fact that all the guards have AK-47s
It has to
probably
be
says
like,
a lot.
Yeah.
Let the trial of Dirk Sadmati begin. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Majesty.
This is gonna be a trial of you talking to yourself a lot.
We'll see.
Will we?
So it's really come down to this. Well, don't expect me to hold anything back, Nayuta. This trial will examine both the murder of Justice Minister Inga Karkul Kurain and the assassination of the former queen, Amara Sigatar Kurain. First, I believe we should address the murder of Minister Inga.
Yeah. Okay. Not the one. Okay.
Would that be acceptable, Prosecutor Sadmati?
Great.
Prosecutor Sadmati?
Oh. He's out of it.
Yes, of course. Please proceed. What's with him?
What is with him?
Oh, very unlike you, Prosecutor. Is your mind elsewhere this day? Not at all, Your Majesty. Are you really gonna be able to go through with this, Nayuta? Well, Prosecutor Sadmati, I would be remiss if I failed to voice a concern of mine. I have heard mention that you are son to the accused, Dirk Sadmati. You have heard true. Does that fact pose some sort of problem, Your Majesty?
I mean, it should, because there would probably be a conflict of interest here. But like,
This is correct. Doesn't exist.
But also, when the fuck has Ace Attorney ever cared about conflicts of interest?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you just kind of ignore it, because not only do they try minors as adults, but like conflict of interest are definitely a thing. Like Manfred von Karma would not be allowed to prosecute his adoptive son. That is not the thing that would be allowed to happen as early as the first game.
Yeah.
So, because yeah, like look at this line right here: a father being prosecuted by his own son. Could one possibly deliberate such a case without having personal feelings intervene?
Yeah. Hey. Is this the first time anybody's brought something like this up?
I think so, yeah.
Because
aside from earlier in this case when the judge was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Like, this feels way too personal."
They completely skate around just the concept of conflicts of interest. And here's the judge of Kurain being like, "Yo, this seems kind of fucked up."
Yes, without question.
Hey, Dirk. What up?
Dirk.
Fellow citizens, you would do well not to underestimate my son. He's not one to allow personal feelings to interfere with the execution of his duty. Isn't that right, Naita?
I will not stop until my work here is done.
I will not stop until you're in a grave.
See? So all you doubters, just sit back down before you trip over your own stupidity. Ha 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 ha!
The accused will not take the stand without first being summoned.
You don't give a fuck.
In any case, if Prosecutor Sadmati has no issue with this arrangement, let us commence the deliberations.
Hell, that's not her voice. Oh,
You're right,
wait.
it's not.
Wait, why does it sound identical to Rafa?
Because they're related.
But like, Rafa's like 14. And the queen is like, what, 50?
Like in their 40s, I think.
43.
43.
Why do they sound exactly the same? So dumb. The voice direction in this game is, in these, not just this game, the sequel trilogy is maybe not good.
Outside of Dirk, because, what's his name? Jameson
Dirk-
Price is just an inherently amazing
Yeah.
voice actor.
Dirk is good, but then like, fucking like, the objections and the like hold its and the take thats of like both Apollo and Phoenix fucking suck and have zero energy and sound like they're being said by like 11-year-old boys. Like, it's
Athena's is pretty good though.
Athena's is good. Because she's voiced by
Wendy Lee.
what? Was it Wendy Lee? I thought it was Futaba.
No, Futaba's voice actor voices Rafa.
Oh. Really? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Erica Lindbeck.
Oh, so she just voices two of my daughters then. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. The daughter voice actress. Got it. I like Apollo's objection in Apollo Justice. Yeah, I mean, the voice direction in Apollo Justice wasn't as bad. It's with Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice that they're bad, I think.
Which is funny because up until Dual Destinies, every single voice line was done by a random Capcom employee.
Yeah, I don't know why they had to go and allegedly get, like, professional voice actors for them when, like, Phoenix's objection is so much better in the original trilogy.
I think it's two reasons. First of all, there's anime cutscenes now. They need someone who can voice the characters in those cutscenes. And second of all, the guy who voiced Phoenix in the original trilogy no longer worked at Capcom.
Oh, that makes sense. Who is it? Fucking Troy Baker. God damn it.
It was Ben Judd was Phoenix in the original trilogy. He was
Yeah.
part of the localization team. And I think by the time Dual Destinies came out, he already moved on to a different company.
Does Phoenix have the same voice actor in this that he does in the anime?
No, in the anime he's by Eric Vale, who voiced
Who does-
Trunks in Dragon Ball.
Who does like a super good job actually, and all of the outtakes are
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, honestly, I like the entire anime voice cast a lot, even if some of them don't sound like they sounded like in my head. Like, Maya's an example. I think her voice in the anime is a little bit too high and breathy, but the voice actor still does a great job with the material. Like, she captures the gremlin energy so well.
I need to watch that.
I
We
can hook
got-
you up.
we
Legally, of course.
Yeah, handy little lending link.
Sorry, what were you saying?
We should do watch party of the Ace Attorney anime.
That would be really fun. I'd like that.
That would be. We have to watch Scream 4 first, though.
Yeah.
Scriform.
Scriptform. We
Anyway.
should probably keep going. This is a long case.
Yeah. One moment, if you would.
Your Eminence. Your Eminence, what brings you here?
What the fuck? Your Majesty, it would appear that Prosecutor Sadmati does indeed have some reservations.
No, that's not true.
Did you truly believe you could deceive me, Naita Sadmati? One should hold no reservations if one is to stand on these hallowed funerary grounds.
Hey, I have none, Your Eminence.
No, it is clear we cannot leave this matter to you. We shall handle the prosecution of enemy of the crown, Dirk Sodmati, personally. Man, this sure does sound like a conflict of interest. But remain by our side and bear witness to how a true prosecutor enforces the law. Oh yeah, she used to be the fucking Minister of Justice, huh?
Yeah. Do you remember how I said this wouldn't exactly be me talking to myself?
Yeah!
Excuse me, but is the Queen going to prosecute the case? Is that, kosher?
There is no need for concern. Before we were crowned Queen, we served as a prosecutor.
Really? As a foreigner, your ignorance can be excused, but know this. The prosecutor in charge of the Queen Amara assassination case 23 years ago was none other than Her Eminence Queen Garan Seyatar Kurain.
Oh, okay, so we have another Von Karma situation going on here is what's happening. That's exactly what's happening.
So much better than Von Karma. I really love her.
No, yeah, like she's actually, I like her a lot as like a villain.
As a villain, yeah.
Yeah, but like, they're doing another Von Karma, and it's like good, because it's been a fucking while since they pulled that.
Yeah. First your magistrate and now this. Why doesn't anyone tell me these things?
I'd heard she served as the Minister of Justice, but she was also a prosecutor?
I'm guessing she probably moved up the ladder from prosecutor to justice minister.
We prosecuted that case 23 years ago, but no verdict was ever rendered. We had won guilty verdicts in every case until then. For no lawyer could stand up to us. Oh, so she probably personally sent so many defense attorneys to their deaths.
I mean, I think by the time the DC Act was enacted, she was already queen. So not personally, but she might as well have done it personally.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm at a loss for words. To think I would once more bear witness to Her Eminence at work in the Hall of Justice.
Our first trial in 23 years. No quarter shall be given to criminals. We shall prosecute them with all of our might. So what? Is, like, Nayuta just gonna be the fucking, like, counsel for her? Or is he even here now?
No, he's still here.
Whoa! What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so gay.
I know, it's so good. She looks like a freaking tokusatsu villain.
Yeah, like, what? Like, Rita Repulsa out here?
Oh, yeah, like, I got Scrap Deco commissioned that outfit one time. I'm not even gonna deny it. It's so good.
It's so good.
What the? That's Queen Garan?
Talk about an extreme makeover. Ooh! That's fucking villain music, baby!
Look at her freaking acrylics.
Oh, why is she so hot? Fuck, she's super evil, though. But, like, also so hot. It's all coming back now. The feel of my blood pumping through my veins.
You dropped the royal we as well.
Oh, yeah. She's not the queen anymore, huh? Woe to you, O enemies of Kurine, for I shall personally slice, dice, and grind you up into hog feed.
Aw, thanks. You're so considerate.
That's nice. Feed the hog.
I appreciate it. I'm eating more tonight. I don't suppose I can ask her to roll back into her polite pre-makeover personality.
Know this, lawyer.
Yes?
Now that I stand as prosecutor, consider your defense's bench a headsman's scaffold. If you wish to leave any last words, I advise you to start thinking of them now. While you still have a head with which to think, that is.
Eep. She's dead serious.
Fucking Apollo turning into the Roadrunner. Now it is time for the divination seance. Rafa, come forth. Hey, Rafa, look at your mom. Hey, Rafa.
She's like, is she rocking the outfit again?
She does this every Sunday.
Your benevolence, thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Hey, Rafa. Do you understand now?
Your benevolence, I understand it may be difficult for you, but may we proceed with the divination seance?
Yes, let us proceed.
Forgive me for asking, but are you feeling physically unwell?
Listen, Judge, everybody's having a rough time this week.
If so, I would advise you to avoid any undue exertion.
Hmm.
Your benevolence? What's wrong? It's like her mind's anywhere but here.
A lot's happened since yesterday. I kind of schooled her all fucking week, Apollo. It was super rad. On top of the murder of her beloved father, she found out he'd been planning a coup. And today she'll have to experience his death through his own eyes.
Yeah, that would be enough to shake anyone up.
Still, it seems like she's worse off today than she was yesterday.
Yeah, I don't remember her being this depressed.
She was... I mean... Wait, was that...
She was disciplined.
Oh, she was disciplined.
Garan didn't do something to her, did she? Oh, Val, you're down so bad.
That fella's down so bad.
I understand you. It's okay. I'm here with you.
Val out here horny typing in chat.
Your Eminence, about today's divination seance. As I understand it, the prosecution is yet to review its content. Is this deviation from protocol a part of your plan?
Prosecutor Sadmati, would you care to explain your actions?
Your Eminence, the accused was caught at the scene of the crime. Therefore, I deem no seance would be necessary for such a clear-cut case.
Oh, no. You and your bleeding heart. You seek to spare Rafa the trauma of witnessing her father's death. Is that why you have done this?
Not at all.
Oh. You were concerned for me, Prosecutor Sadmati?
Oddly compassionate of him, all things considered.
He did this last time, too.
But it was to hide something, not because he actually felt bad for her.
Oh. But this time he feels bad for her.
Yeah, this time he's genuinely like, I can't ask a child to watch her own father die.
Like, I may be a bastard, but I'm not that much of a bastard.
Yeah. Your Eminence, Your Majesty, regardless of what is best for her benevolence. This case is blessed with a bounty of incontrovertible evidence.
Man, imagine if Nayuta was written like this for the entire game.
I know.
Imagine if, like, he was allowed to have a character and not just
Instead of just being putrid,
Yeah.
sutra beads.
Yeah,
We're
like,
going to hell.
imagine if he wasn't just an abject piece of shit for the entire game. So,
No, in my opinion,
so there being some emotional linkage here would actually be effective.
One of my favorite parts of the entire game, though, is right at the end of Case 2, when he has no evidence left, and he just desperately blurts out that Apollo is going to hell for defending a criminal, and then Apollo just, like, rebuts with, actually, you're the one who's going to hell for accusing an innocent girl, and he just freaking breaks down.
Yep. Fuck. Ugh. I'm gonna have a lot to say about Nayuta once we're done this trial.
Yeah, I always have things to say about them. They're not good things. They're
Yeah.
never nice things.
No, I have nothing nice to say about him.
So I believe we could reach a swift verdict without devoting precious time to a seance. You have a point. Personally, I would like to spare her benevolence and the undue misery. Experiencing the murder of a loved one is a burden no one should have to bear.
Prosecutor Sadmati, Your Majesty, can this trial truly proceed without a divination seance?
I can't blame her for not wanting to experience her father's murder firsthand. Your Eminence, what are your feelings on the matter? Shall we have her benevolence return home for some much-needed rest? A little nappy nap?
Yeah, have some chalky milk. We shall not. You fools spoil her with your feckless words of compassion. Listen well, Rafa. You have spoken time and time again about how grown up you are now. Yes, but So, let us see if the royal priestess has truly come into her own. Are you prepared to fulfill your duty and perform the divination seance as you should? Yes. That's better. See? Problem solved.
Oh, is this really a good idea?
You know, this sucks harder considering my theory about their relationship. The fact that Rafa might not even be her daughter makes this suck super harder. Or does it? Would it suck more? Yeah, I think it would suck more
blood
if they were
related.
blood
She still
related.
raised her.
Yeah,
Like, regardless,
that's true.
she still raised them. It doesn't matter if they're blood related. Like, she still raised her
Yeah, but
as
like,
her daughter.
well, even that's questionable. Because Nana was there. You know?
Well, let me put it this
like-
way: she was brought up thinking that was her mother, right? At the very, very least.
Yeah. I'm thinking more
Assuming-
about this from Garon's perspective, where she would probably put more stock in a direct blood relation than whatever relation she has with Rafa. And, like, it would be more fucked up if she treated Rafa like this if they were directly blood related than if they aren't. From her perspective. Or rather, considering it from how she... You get what I mean.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. But, like... This sucks either way. I guess we'll see. Very well. Let us begin the divination seance. Nana, my robe. Oh! Looks like Nana's still missing.
A whole day already.
Barbed head. Yes? You remove my robe. You're my dad now. What? Why me?
Keep my brother's waiting now, Mr. Wright. Can't you see she's ready to begin?
Great. Now I've been reduced to royal robe remover.
Shut up, Phoenix. This is, like, sweet of her.
Yeah, like she trusts you.
Her mom is right there, and she's trusting you instead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly!
It's like she's grooming Mr. Wright to be Nana's replacement.
Uh-huh. Which means something, considering she literally said Nana was effectively her mother.
Very well, your benevolence, please start when you are ready.
Ugh. Come, Rafa. You know what must be done. There is no turning back now. I know.
My memories of the deceased. This should be interesting.
O Holy Mother,
That's not your
hold this
voice!
divination seance in your name.
Ugh.
Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped.
This is not the voice of a 14-year-old girl. How old is she? Actually,
14, yeah.
Is she actually 14?
She's actually 14.
Ugh.
O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Man, this is probably the last dance that we're gonna watch, huh?
I know, it's weird.
We can't skip this one now. I am a proud mother watching my daughter dance.
Watching your daughter's dance recital.
This music still kicks ass, though.
It's really, I love most of the music in this game. There's just a few
Yeah.
tracks that don't match up to their prior versions, but like overall,
Yeah.
like even like the minor characters' themes, like politicians' themes, and Roger Retton's themes were both really good.
I've turned around. I think Bringer of Revolution is still the superior version of Athena's theme. As much as like there's more energy to the one. I can't fucking remember what it's called in this game. It's something in French.
Revolutionaire.
Yeah, there's a lot more energy to it, but like I do really like the magical girl vibes of Bringer of Revolution.
Yeah.
Like specifically a lot of Sailor Moon. What is happening?
Having a panic attack.
Oh. Oh. All right.
Your benevolence. What's wrong?
She died. This is unacceptable. Fuck you.
Take your benevolence to the first aid station at once. This is not good.
Oh yeah, nothing happened, huh?
Yeah. Your Eminence, do you have any idea why her benevolence collapsed so suddenly?
It seems she was not ready for what the deceased was to reveal. It overwhelmed her. Her inexperience and immaturity left her ill-prepared to face her father's death. And she said she could go through with it. How very disappointing. Fuck you.
You know, someone is not winning Mother of the Year ever. I mean, of course Rafe is going to be overwhelmed. She's still just a child.
It seems we have no choice but to move on to witness testimony. Your Majesty?
Oh, yes, let's proceed. Bailiff, summon the first witness, if you would.
It better be my fucking wife. Nope. Oh yeah, there's a... Okay. Raven, when you say that you see Rose in Street Fighter with this outfit, you mean to say that you see Lisa in this outfit? Because Rose is just Lisa.
Is this not the accused?
It is indeed. I thought I would give him the opportunity to plead his case.
The funniest thing is Rose actually got a Lisa color and costume in the most recent game.
Yeah. Oh. I love how much of Street Fighter was just ripped off from JoJo.
It's pretty incredible.
Like, do you think the Hadouken is just Hamon?
No, I think it has more in common with the Hokuto Shinken from Fist of the North Star.
Yeah.
Or the Kamehameha.
Yeah, I don't know
Like
if
it's got
it does have the blue color.
It's got the blue color and the same hand motion as the Kamehameha, but the fact that it's like a bullet is more like the Hokuto Shinken.
Yeah, because at some point the Kamehameha becomes like a beam, or is it always a beam? It's not always.
I think it's always a beam. It's Spirit Bomb that's the ball.
Spirit Bomb is ball. Spirit Bomb's so fucking cool. Ugh.
It is really cool.
I hate Dragon Ball Z, but Spirit Bombs are cool. For true justice is more than a unilateral presentation of the facts by the prosecution.
Seems uncharacteristically fair of her.
However, should the accused fail to produce convincing testimony, he, along with his cabal of traitorous lawyers, shall immediately be found guilty, and their heads will roll from their shoulders.
What? I should have known there was a catch.
Your court, your rules. Same as it always was, I see, Guron.
Now then, Mr. Dirk Sanmati, who would enlighten us as to what happened?
Man, it's been a while since I've played the prosecutor opposite... Oh no, that was literally this case, wasn't it? Technically. It's been a while since I played a prosecutor, though. I guess since Apollo Justice. Huh.
Well, I would if I could. I was struck by a sudden dizziness the moment I entered the tomb. The next thing I knew, I was standing there with a bloody knife in my hand. And lying right in front of me was Inga, dead as a doornail. I have no recollection of what happened in the interim. But I didn't kill him. At least, I don't think I did. It'd go against everything I believe in.
Huh. It's not super helpful, Dirk.
Didn't explain squat.
For the record, let it be known that the accused's fingerprints were all over the murder weapon. And since he was caught in the act, there was no chance for a third party to tamper with it.
Well, that certainly seems to point the finger at you, Mr. Somebody.
Even as a lawyer, I have to agree with you there, Mr. Your Majesty. Ha 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 ha!
Seriously, Dirk, this is no laughing matter.
This is exactly what Garan wanted. To have Dirk try to plead his case only to fail miserably.
How low can she go?
Prosecutor, behold this most unpleasant of spectacles and let it be etched into your soul. See how, instead of accepting the inevitable, those fish-brained lawyers flounder and flop themselves straight into the abyss of despair.
Yes, Your Eminence. Show me the way. Now then, will the defense please begin their cross-examination?
Ugh, I hate Nayuta so much.
Little fascist lapdog.
No shit. Okay, so this is worthless testimony.
Press some more information out of him.
Yeah.
You were struck by a sudden dizziness? Was it because of his illness? Is this something that's ever happened to you before? Infomercial mode. Has this ever happened to you?
Can't say that it has. Maybe age is catching up with me. I'm no spring chicken after all.
It's not the issue here.
A most cunning excuse, one befitting an insidious insurgent.
Oh!
A killer who does not recall his crime. How very convenient. Next, I imagine you will plead insanity. You aim to seek a lesser sentence through excuses and subterfuge, do you not? Oh, yeah, his objection is so good.
It's really good.
Don't make me laugh, your malevolence.
Oh, shit. Hell yeah. How dare you?
I'm merely stating my innocence. I have no intention of offering excuses. It's your baseless speculation I would decry as foolish. You deceitful witch.
Damn, Dirk! Is it your wish that I should claim your head right now in this very hall?
Well, that would certainly speed things along. Ha 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 ha!
Dirk is so immensely badass.
I love him so much.
Dirk, finally let me handle it from here. And if there's anything you need to say, you can say it through me, okay? Anything to stop you from needling the queen.
Next time you have an objection, you'd better have some proof to go with it, Dirk.
Like, he's literally on trial for murder, and she's like, I'm gonna kill you, and he goes, why don't you do it now, bitch?
Yeah, well, yeah, like, but like, what the fuck does he care, right? He's dying. If he gets the fucking poke fun at her and like make her angry in his last moments, so be it. I'll let him have it. He deserves it.
He does deserve it. The accused will continue with what he does recall of the crime.
Which is nothing. Press that. Press everything.
You recall anyone putting a knife in your hand, Dirk?
Wish I could say I did, but I don't remember a thing before I came to. You think there might have been a third party in the tomb, son?
Yeah, because if you didn't do it, then the real killer must have been there with you.
Uh-huh.
You called, Your Eminence. Did she go anywhere without those goons?
Was there a third party in the tomb when you were securing it?
No, Your Eminence. We searched high and low, but found nothing of the sort.
And there you have it.
Oh, right. They did search the place.
Furthermore, my guards had the entire tomb surrounded, so there was no way for anyone to escape.
That's right. No one got in or out without our knowledge. Her Eminence's on-site directives were absolutely flawless.
I hate these guys. Do you see now? The presence of a third party is beyond the realm of possibility. The tomb was, for all intents and purposes, completely sealed off from the rest of the world.
Nothing, gallery guy, as if our graves were already deep enough.
Accused, what do you believe about the possible presence of a third party?
Well, based on the situation you presented, I'd say the chances are slim to none.
You didn't have to agree with her, Dirk.
Let the accused's statement be added to his testimony.
Very well, Mr. Sadamati, if you would. It's like the more we press, the thinner our case gets.
Well, let's keep pressing and maybe we'll work out the wrinkles in it too. But Apollo, this happens every time. You realize that, right?
So cool to have Phoenix be the co-counsel to Apollo.
Imagine if that was what Dual Destinies was. Imagine how much better that game would be if that was just what that game was. Anyway, the possibility of a third party being there in the tomb is probably non-existent. Probably. This doesn't feel like one that I present evidence on yet.
Yeah, just keep pressing. You'll find it eventually. We can't prove your innocence, but at least the possibility of a third party was here.
Find the possible in the impossible, son. Do the impossible, see the invisible. Row, row, fight the power.
That basically is his mantra.
Yeah, he's basically fucking Kamina.
That's just what a lawyer's got to do sometimes. Isn't that right? Right.
Who, me? Yeah, you could say that. Rah, rah, fight the power and whatever. I've seen more than my fair share of trials like that. They'd start with no viable evidence, useful testimony, or any hope of winning. But through cold sweat, desperation, and a little luck, I always managed to pull them off.
Right. I can see we are kindred spirits, you and I. Ha 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 ha!
Jeez, in cases like that must shave years off your life.
If that were true, I'd be long dead. I'm a ghost, Apollo.
Do the impossible, seek the invisible. Oh, row, fight the power. Can I prove that it was at least possible there was a third party there? Dirk, what did you see at the scene of the crime?
Let's see, I came to...
Yeah, you saw a corpse.
You stated that he was dead as a doornail. How could you be so sure?
It's pretty easy to spot the difference between a soulless man and the soulless shell of a man. His complexion and the amount of blood at the scene made it obvious which it was.
That's such a good fucking line, Dirk. Watch your words, or you shall join Minister Inga much sooner than expected. Why
That's
do
my
you
man you're
care?
dunking on.
He was gonna do a coup on you. You can bow your head before him and seek his forgiveness there in the Twilight Realm. If you still have a head to bow, that is.
You bloodthirsty spider. What happened to you? There was still a little love in your heart 23 years ago. You even used to think of me as a brother.
It seems you truly do have a death wish.
Ha 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 ha! Is that really all you've got?
Dirk, I'm begging you, enough of the lip. Just deliver your testimony, please.
Alright, I'll try, but I can't promise anything.
I love his sass.
Days passed since the murder. Haven't you remembered anything in that time?
My memory's a complete blank. It's as if that part of my brain has been scooped right out.
How very convenient. But even if you've no memory of the event, your guilt is without question. There is nothing more to debate.
You're forgetting one thing, Garon. I have no motive.
You lead a band of insurgents that seeks to overthrow the government. I would say that alone is motive enough to slay our kingdom's Minister of Justice.
I've declared countless times that I lead a bloodless revolution. I forbid violence and murder, even if some younger members may have a thirst for blood.
On this revolution, he wouldn't really have a motive in that case. Is that an important statement?
Yeah, why not add it to his testimony?
That was an important statement. I'd like my client to add it to his testimony. Very well then, the accused will please do as the defense has requested.
I do want to press him on that.
Well, this revolution? Could you be more specific?
I'm talking about dragging this pompous prosecutor here off her bloody throne. So go ahead, Garon, act all high and mighty now, because it's the last chance you'll get.
You still speak of rebellion despite the charges against you? You truly are a fool.
Love that motive. It's like, yeah, we're not gonna kill them. We just want to drag them off the throne so that they can wash themselves in squalor.
Yeah. Dirk's good. Slap.
Like, he's not like they're like some pansy, like, oh, violence never solved anything. Like, no, he's totally cool with his, his revolutionaries beating up guards and whatever.
Just don't kill him.
And yeah, just don't kill him.
Beat the shit out of them, but do not kill them. I will prove your guilt soon enough and display your head for all of Kurine to see. People will forever speak of you, not as a revolutionary, but as the terrorist you are.
You're mistaken, your maleficence. It will be you this people will speak of, as the tyrant who was overthrown by her own people.
I wonder if you will still be spewing such nonsense before the headsman's axe.
I love how she has no response to that. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you.
Like, no, you.
I'm afraid I'll still be like this in the afterlife, desperate.
I know that self-restraint is as foreign as apple pie to Dirk, but I'd really rather go home into the Twilight Realm after this.
Dirk's the fucking best.
I love him a lot. He's one of my favorite characters in this game, I think.
Yeah.
Can you state that you didn't kill him more definitively?
How can I when I have no memory of what happened?
Well, can you at least state whether or not you're a murderer?
That I can do. I am not a murderer, and I would never kill anyone, no matter the circumstances.
And do you have any evidence to support your claim that you did not kill the minister?
Evidence? No, can't say I do.
In that case, you will strike the statement I didn't kill him from your testimony.
Wait, you can't just discard testimony like that. I mean, I'm the one cross-examining the defendant and all.
Hold your prattling tongue, foreign devil. I am the queen of this kingdom, and the queen is the law.
I love how her table slam, she uses the entire law book just to, like, assert her authority.
There is something... I've seen an animation from the Great Ace Attorney of a man putting his leg on the counter.
I'm disappointed you had that spoiled for you.
And that animation made me really remember that. 'Cause it's very similar in vibe.
Yeah.
As such, I need not follow the laws that are in place. I can make and break them at will.
Henceforth, the accused will refrain from stating I didn't kill him. What?
Listen. Following Jazz on Twitter, it's impossible to avoid all spoilers.
You know what? Fair enough. As long as you...
Jazz is, like, so careful, but, like, every now and then, something will slip. And there are other people that I follow on Twitter that were also playing it. And it's like, it's hard to avoid everything.
Yeah, well, as long as the big ones are avoided, that's all I really care about.
I know fuck all about the games themselves. I just know some, like, minor animation stuff. That's really it.
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah.
Also, like, I just want to say, people compare Garan to Von Karma a lot, and I think that she's way better because she actually has authority. Like,
yeah. Manfred
was very, he talked a big game, but all of his bluster crumbled as soon as he just stood up to him.
Yeah.
Garon's straight up like, yeah, I'm gonna rewrite the law right here, and you can't do shit about it.
She's the fucking queen.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. It's the Garan show after all, same as always.
Like, she just made it illegal for the suspect to defend themselves. And he's like, yeah, okay, this is business as usual for you.
Wait, is this new? He just like rephrased what he said.
Yeah, just press that as well.
Hold it!
Dirk, leave the evidence finding to me. Now please, will you stop agreeing with everything the prosecution says?
Alright, I'll stick to the facts from now on. But remember, son, if you truly believe in me, you should be able to prove my innocence. I know you can do it.
Believes I'll prove him innocent. Even with all these inconvenient truths? Is that what he's saying?
Al Gore. I think Dirk might be onto something. Even the most disadvantageous facts may point the way to the truth. So don't ignore them. Think of them as food for thought.
Don't worry, I know. The worst of times when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. I need to remember that, no matter how difficult the facts may be to deal with.
If only we can establish the possibility of a third party. But does the possibility itself... Oh, that's Apollo.
But does the possibility itself even exist?
It's been a while since I've stumbled over one of your lines.
It's all good. It's all good.
We don't have a choice. Proving it exists is the only way to start a real dialogue here. Okay. So, I mean...
Now that you have all the information...
Probably non-existent, but not completely non-existent.
Well, let's look at their evidence. Go back one page.
This. Oh, you know what? Hey, you know what? I'm gonna look through all my evidence really quick.
Fair enough.
It's been a few days. Smargophagus. Okay. He got a stabbo. Gemstone. This was found next to one of the statues that was shot at.
Yeah, when the gemstone was found in the
ashes, yeah, and the incense burner. And then this was leading to the tomb. No, the Smargophagus.
It was going up. Yeah, it was going up with the Scarmophagus.
Inga has back pain. Why is this in my court record? How the fuck is that relevant? Nina, purple hat, glass. Yeah, right. Inga had Brad Pitt disease. Amara still alive and have baby. There's the queen doing a channeling for Moriarty.
Full striptease.
Yeah, her booba out. Oh yeah, there's that whole thing of Dats being an asshole. There's the Defense Culpability Act. There's this file. Mara slipped a sleeping pill and perished in the fire. The lighter found at the scene had Dirk's fingerprints on it. Apollo's roving musician father got caught up in this incident and lost his life. He was struck in the head by the culprit. The victim's passport and any pictures of him were burned up in the fire. Without knowing his real name, no divination seance could be performed. Huh. It's interesting how that's here now. How that's here and pointing that out, and we know his name now and have a photo of him. That's interesting. As the son of the terrorist, Dirk Nayuta was expelled from the royal family. The idea that the sins of the father have visited upon his children is deeply rooted in the minds of the Kuranese people. Right, okay. Badge, looked like a titty. And the founder orb got the Holy Mother in it. So, the blood is what I should present here, I reckon.
Yeah, because it doesn't belong to the victim.
Oh, it's
so
an unidentified bloodstain, yeah. We don't know who's it's from. Yeah.
Objection!
Your Eminence, I'm afraid this trial will not go exactly as you anticipated. Because I can show how there might have been a third party in that tomb.
Oh, how very fascinating. Go on, I do so love a good fairy tale.
We did a luminol test at the crime scene, and we found a bloodstain that didn't match the Justice Minister's blood. I will remind you that neither Dirk nor Miss Faye were injured during the incident. The thing is, this bloodstain we found had been wiped up by someone. What's this? But who would have done such a thing?
You know, Mina, this is one trial that I feel like we're actually prepared for.
Yeah?
We have a lot of evidence and testimony, actually.
We sure do, yeah. That's the big question, isn't it? Who whipped up the blood and why? I guess we kind of have to be prepared for this one, considering we're up against the literal queen who can change the law whenever she wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Could she make murder legal? Why doesn't she just do that?
Because then Dirk gets away.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Thinking about it logically, it must be someone who wanted to conceal their presence at the scene of the crime.
Oh, and to whom do you suppose the bloodstain might belong? I don't fucking know.
Bloodstain belongs to...
The real killer. The real killer.
Bloodstain belongs to the real killer, of course.
The killer.
Whoever it was, they probably shot while they were probably shot while attacking Minister Inga. And since their blood would give them away, they had to wipe it up. I say this because we know for a fact the Justice Minister fired his gun in the tomb.
You have the memory of a flea. There was nowhere for anyone to hide. This, too, is a known fact.
Objection!
The bloodstain from a third party means there must have been someone hiding there.
Very well, then. Tell me this. Where was this third party hiding?
Oh,
The crime scene was thoroughly searched after it was discovered. So if there was a hiding place, it would have to be somewhere no one would dare look.
somewhere no one would dare look? Let's have your answer, defense.
I wonder where.
Now, where could a third party have hidden?
It's literally on already.
Yeah, put the killer in the scarmophagus.
Oh no.
There's one place no one would search, not even the Queen's Royal Guard. And that would be... inside Queen Amara's scarmophagus. Even now, it's locked up tight. No one would find you if you hidden there. I'm told it's temperature controlled to preserve the mummy within. But if someone dressed warmly enough, they could withstand the cold for a short time. This is sacrilegious. Surely the perpetrator of such a foul deed would be cursed.
That's a Simpsons reference I appreciate.
I appreciate that you have understood it. But that's just it. The killer knew everyone would be scared to open the scarmophagus.
True, the guards were so scared of being cursed, they wouldn't even touch it.
And when the coast was clear, the killer made a quick escape from within the frigid confines. Oh no, that does sound like a plausible method of evading capture. The defense requests a DNA test on the bloodstain. And then we'll see just who the real killer is.
What? Bow your head and kneel, lawyer. So your head may be parted from your shoulders.
Huh? But the trial's not even over.
What the fuck? Sonic Boom!
Whoa!
How soon you forget. You are already on the headsman's scaffold. As such, I can order your beheading at any moment.
All I did was request a DNA test.
There is no need to request such a test. They're illegal now. Royal Guard, bring it forth now.
Here you are, your evidence.
The police have already identified the source of the bloodstain. The DNA test revealed that the blood is of the traitor Dirk Sadmati. No, it's
What?
not.
But Dirk wasn't injured, so where did his blood come from?
Maybe he coughed it up.
Dirk's illness. Bill, there was a lot of blood. Could he have really coughed up that much? And did he wipe it up to hide his failing health?
How would he have the time to do that, but not the time to not be caught standing over the body with a bloody knife?
Dirk, is it really that bad?
Oh, shoot, you got me.
What? Pay attention, horned devil, for this case has already been solved. You claimed that this bloodstain would lead us to the real killer, did you not?
About that.
Did you or did you not make that claim of your own volition, defense?
Ooh, I love the authority. Yes, I did.
After she steered you in that direction, that is.
Ugh. I fell right into her trap.
Do you see now the folly in opposing the very embodiment of the law? Whatever you say or do shall come to no avail. A third party at the scene of the crime? It's beyond the realm of possibility.
Oh! Praise be for Queen Garan. Her evidence's legal tactics are beyond compare.
I hate to say this, but she really got us good.
The key to Amar's sarcophagus is under the protection of the royal family. It's really funny to think about her saying it wrong.
And not intentionally, just because her English isn't that good.
Yeah. My husband and I are the only ones who could open it. Why? Okay, okay. Every time there's this kind of situation, the person offers that information to us voluntarily. Every single time. Oh wait, but your husband's dead and he probably had the key on him, so like, the fuck are you talking about? Therefore, it would be impossible for some knave to open it.
I really discount the Scarmophagus as the hiding place, though. What if the real killer is still in there?
What do you mean?
No, that's just ridiculous.
What the fuck do you mean, Apollo? I believe we have... Oh,
He's grasping at straws. Like, he's just trying to find any way to
Yeah,
get into
that's
this
fair.
hole that he's been shoved into.
I believe we have rebels and sympathizers in the gallery today. It is to you I speak. Have you been listening? Dirk Sadmati, the one who proclaimed a bloodless revolt, has betrayed your cause by resorting to murder. Should probably say something, bud.
Iron Dragons and their sympathizers are starting to have doubts.
So this is why Garan allowed us to cross-examine Dirk. By establishing his guilt in Inga's murder, she's effectively damaged his reputation among those who support him.
Oh, but now we have an even bigger problem.
And now, filthy lawyers, you will honor your end of the bargain. Accept your guilty verdict for your failure to explain your client's actions.
Oh.
Ooh.
Huh?
Now, I shall pass judgment upon the criminal, Dirk Stodmati.
What's this? You shall pass judgment? But, Your Eminence, is that not my role?
Why is the judge here? Hold your tongue. You are but a figurehead before me, the embodiment of law. Consider yourself dismissed.
It's alright, I've got Jenga to get to.
As Queen of Kurine, I shall now pass judgment upon the accused. What? Huh? What? Did we just lose? We just fucking lost, huh?
Yeah, she has that power.
She sure does.
Wait. You didn't give me a chance to rebut.
Know when you are defeated, lawyer. But just this once, I am willing to show you the depths of my compassion. Tell me why I should allow these proceedings to continue. Come, convince me.
Quick, Apollo! Even if you have to bluff, we've got to keep this trial going. Show her that the crime could have been committed by a third party.
How am I supposed to do that?
Why don't you start with, how about the timing of Inga's murder?
What?
This whole case is built on a single premise, that Inga was murdered after Dirk entered the tomb. But what if that's not true?
Like, if our assumptions are all wrong?
Turn your
Just might work.
rotate your thinking about.
Well, don't just keep us waiting, defense. Dirk became the prime suspect because it didn't seem probable that there was a third party at the scene of the crime. But there was another question we asked ourselves at this time. Was Minister Inga really killed after Dirk entered the tomb?
What nonsense is this?
Setting aside the assumption that the murder occurred after Dirk arrived on the scene, opens to the possibility of a third party committing the crime. The question before us is, when was Minister Inga really killed?
After the body was found? Oh, that's possible if he was not dead at that point, I guess. But we want to argue that it was before Dirk entered the tomb because the sarcophagus is temperature controlled, and that would throw off Inga's time of death.
Yeah. Isn't it possible that before Dirk even set foot in the tomb, that Minister Inga was already dead? That would certainly make the possibility of a third party more probable.
Why, of course. I fell unconscious right after I entered the tomb. Even if I hadn't, I wouldn't have had a clear line of sight to his body from the entrance. Which means...
You wouldn't have noticed his body either way. This scenario is entirely possible. And so we can't rule out the possibility of a third person committing the crime. I see. Well, that certainly does make sense.
Judge, why are you talking?
So far, so good. This might actually work.
Very well. I shall play along with whatever little game you have knocking around in that tiny mind. I was starting to get quite bored of all this. I could do with a distraction.
Yes. She's cocky.
Let us hear some testimony that will shed light on when exactly the minister was slain. Bailiff, summon Rafa. Surely she has recovered by now.
What about me? Don't I serve a purpose anymore?
No, you don't.
I hope you are feeling better, Your Benevolence.
Must I perform the divination seance?
What? Oh, no. We merely require your testimony this time.
How could my testimony be of any value?
Your benevolence? Princess Rafa seems awfully depressed.
After what she's been through, summoning her again is like rubbing salt in the wound. Being unable to perform the seance was probably the last straw.
I hope she doesn't pass out again.
Well, I might do a little save for safety.
Safety save.
Safety save. Prosecutor Stadmati, may I ask you something?
Of course, your benevolence.
I've been meaning to ask you this since yesterday. Did you know about Queen Amara? And about me?
Where did you hear such a thing?
From Mother, and only yesterday. Rafa was carrying on about telling the truth to the people. So I told her what the truth really was. For it is up to a mother to discipline her child.
I see. Be as it may, your benevolence, has no bearing upon our trial here today. So there is no need to let it trouble you.
I know.
Garan told Rafa about something other than Amara's status?
It sounds like it, but what could it be?
Rafa, the defense has proposed something preposterous. They somehow think your father was already dead when Dirk entered the tomb. But I believe you can prove them wrong. Are you prepared to do what is required of you? Yes, I am ready to testify.
Alright, well then, your benevolence. Your testimony, if you please.
Oh, I feel like this is gonna be rough. I feel really bad for Rafa. Rafa's life sucks. On the day of the murder, I was gazing upon the courtyard from my second-floor veranda. Around 2:30 p.m., I saw my father heading for Amara's tomb. Then, at about 2:45, I saw Barbed Head and company enter the courtyard. I saw no one go in or out of the tomb after my father entered at 2:30. Alright.
Second floor veranda. Oh, she must be talking about that house facing Inga's private residence. So that's the location from which you saw your father? At about 2:30?
Yes, and shortly after that, you people arrived at the royal residence.
So after the minister entered Amara's tomb at around 2:30, no one went in or out of there until the murder was discovered?
The tomb was closed to outsiders, so no one could have snuck in before the murder. That rules out any possibility of a third party lying in wait to slay my poor husband.
So she'd like us to believe.
Now hear me, you useless lawyer. Cease this charade and bow before me, for I, Queen Garan, shall finally have your head.
Bring me your evidence, but first let us allow the defense to question the witness.
Okay, well, we know somebody can get into the royal residence. Do we have Albie's testimony on that?
Yep, it's a Albie's statement.
Is that the one where Dirk was being a dipshit?
Yeah.
Not Dirk,
And
Das. In the courtyard, which would be in the royal residence.
Yeah.
Right. Alright.
But you don't have anything to present that to yet. So
Yeah, so
we
just gotta press everything.
You say you've been watching the courtyard until we arrived, correct? That seems like an awfully long time.
There is much that weighs on my mind.
I see. She really does sound troubled.
I don't think she ever fully recovered from the previous trial.
Good job, Maya.
I guess it's not easy being a princess. Your benevolence? I'd be happy to lend an ear if you'd ever like to talk.
What would you know of my woes? Do not presume to exceed your station in life.
Eesh, teenagers.
That is how teenagers be.
Your benevolence, what did you witness from your veranda?
Well...
Your father seemed different or troubled in any way?
Let me think. Oh, there was one unusual thing.
There was?
Yes, a shriek emanated from within my father's quarters. After which I witnessed him bolt outside, his countenance drained of its usual color.
He screamed and he was looking pale? What do you suppose happened?
I know not. Perhaps he had a bad dream.
I used a nightmare about being raked over the coals by the queen.
She's right there. It seems our young lawyer here wishes to hasten his journey to the Twilight Realm.
Sorry, that was rude of me. Does the defense believe the witness's last statement to be important? I believe it is. I would like the witness to add it to her testimony.
I like how it's so obvious that's important. It didn't even give us the option to turn it down.
Yeah. And why do you think he screamed? Was he surprised by someone who didn't belong there? Did anyone else come out?
I didn't see anyone else, just my father.
Last statement was seriously lacking in conviction. Should I press her on this?
Ooh.
You should go hard. The truth is important.
And the truth is very important.
Your benevolence. Let's have some details. The more the better.
The details, you say?
Yes. For example, are you sure you didn't see anyone in the royal residence before 2:30?
He's going so hard.
Well, is it a yes or a no?
Foreign devil! I'd been gazing upon the courtyard since about 2 yesterday. Yet I saw none other than my father. Oh, if only I had stopped him then.
I think you've struck a nerve, or rather, obliterated one.
Maybe I pressed a little too hard. Still, that last statement seemed a little off somehow. So you didn't see anyone except your father in the courtyard at 2 p.m., huh? Please add that to your testimony, your benevolence.
Oh yeah, that's not possible.
Yeah.
Because of Albie.
Objection!
Objectively not true.
Your benevolence. You're covering for someone, aren't you?
Huh? I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, Rafa, but you're not gonna like this. Well, the thing is, I have a statement here that you might find interesting. It's from a witness who claims that around 2 p.m. his dog got loose and ran to the palace courtyard. That's when the little fellow stole his hat from someone.
Ah, that's Nana's. I mean, nothing. Never mind. You fool of a daughter.
It seems the princess made a blunder.
So let me get this straight. This is Nana's hat, which means she had to be in the royal residence at around 2. If so, then you had to have seen Nana sometime after 2 p.m. yesterday.
Oh, no!
Please, your benevolence, tell us what you really saw.
Ugh. It is as you say, Hornhead. I saw Nana, and I saw that dingbat dog steal her hat from her in front of my father's residence.
I knew it. Why didn't you say so in the first place?
Because, my mother told me not to.
What? Would you care to explain, your eminence?
I requested she withhold said information, for it is of no relevance to this case.
Objection!
You don't get to decide.
If you disagree, then prove that it is relevant to the case at hand.
He's like, you don't get to decide, and she's like, I actually do.
I do get to decide, bitch!
Oh, I will. Your benevolence, please tell us everything you witnessed when you saw Nana.
Alright. When I saw that dingbat dog attack Nana, I ran to help. I raced from my second floor veranda down into the courtyard.
Wait. That means that while you were coming down, you took your eyes off the courtyard.
Yes, but only for a moment.
This is crucial testimony. If you took your eyes off the courtyard, it means somebody else could have entered the tomb without you ever knowing.
Ah!
Your benevolence, are you sure no one else was there?
Yes.
She's hiding something again. What about Nana? Were you able to help her?
Well, when I got down to the courtyard, she was gone.
Gone?
Yes, and I never saw her again after that.
Any idea what happened?
That dingbat dog must have gobbled her up.
I seriously doubt that.
It's a pretty small pupper.
How could Nana simply disappear while Rafa wasn't looking? Rafa must know something. The only question is what?
Where Nana disappeared to. Like, this is an important little fact, but I don't think it's relevant to what we want to get out of her.
Yeah.
Not why... Probably not why Nana disappeared. And so, I mean, Rafa's obviously protecting Nana and doesn't want us to think that Nana went into the tomb.
You have any idea where Nana disappeared to?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, during the time you took your eyes off the courtyard, someone could have headed into the tomb. And it just so happened that Nana disappeared right at that moment.
No!
Wait, you think Nana had something to do with the murder?
I don't think we can rule it out. Sounds like something had kept Nana occupied since the early morning. Plus, she was seen right before the murder and then seemed to vanish into thin air.
You're right. And since she's Rafa's attendant, she could come and go as she pleased within the palace grounds.
Would Rafa's attendant really be the killer? But that would mean...
First my father, and now Nana? These were the people I trusted most. How could this be...
Do not heed their lies. Lawyers are a foul breed, quick to claim that a third party is to blame for a crime. Nana did not enter the tomb. That much is certain.
Can you be so sure?
When Nana's hat was stolen, that crazed cur spilled an urn full of water upon my husband's doorstep. Is that not right, Rafa?
Yes, it is. While that dingbat dog was tugging on Nana's hat, it tipped over the urn.
The bottoms of her shoes would have been soaked with water, and if she had truly headed into the tomb with wet shoes, she would have left shoe prints along the way. But the only shoe prints to be found belonged to my husband, Inga.
Nina?
Oh, did you not pick it up?
No.
Oh. Then...
That's right. Nana never did go into the tomb that day. Instead, she entered my husband's private quarters.
How do you know?
It's quite simple.
shoe prints were discovered in Inga's private quarters. Shoe prints that belonged to Nena. That's right, Edgeworth and I did see some shoe prints in there. Now, do you understand? Nena could not possibly have gone into the tomb. And that supposed third person at the crime scene is but a figment of your imagination.
Glorious deduction. I'll hail the genius that is her eminence Queen Garan. Bow down before her glory, witness lawyer.
Uh-huh.
This guy's fanboy any harder. But is it really true? Did I not go into the tomb?
Excuse me, but...
Mr. Wright?
Your benevolence, what time was it when that dog attacked Nena? I believe it was about 2:15 p.m. I see. Apollo, if Nena entered Inga's private quarters at around 2:15, and Inga came racing out at around 2:30, pale-faced and screaming, then...
I know what you're getting at. Yes, that might explain his scream. Would the defense please show their theory regarding Minister Inga's scream? Certainly, Your Majesty. Minister Inga screamed because...
Okay. Let's think about this. Because two of these are very possible. He saw a ghost. Maybe not in the literal, but like, that's possible. Considering who I theorize Nena might be. But like, I don't think we're at a point where we're doing that yet. So I think right now we just want to implicate Nena is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Which we do by saying he was attacked by Nena.
Maybe he was attacked by Nena. That would make just Minister's private quarters the real scene of the crime.
Does your idiocy know no bounds? The minister's body was found in the tomb. Or are you suggesting that the body was moved?
Do I think the minister was moved from his private quarters? I think the possibility...
No.
They would have seen that for sure.
Yeah, Rafa would have seen that, right?
Mm-hmm. And what she definitely saw him hightailing it into the tomb.
Yeah.
I'd say there's no way the body was moved. After all, there was an awful lot of blood in the tomb.
I understand that the scream was in reaction to Nena's attack, but Inga died in the tomb.
We need to explain how those two realities could coincide. How are we supposed to do that? Oh, maybe... Maybe where he was stabbed and where he died were two completely different places.
What do you mean?
Just, let's look at this as simply as possible. If the minister's body wasn't moved, he might have been stabbed by Nena in his private quarters, but then died in the tomb.
Oh yeah, like blood loss.
I see. On the one hand, that seems plausible, but on the other, it seems decidedly implausible.
Prosecutor Sadmati, what is that fool babbling about now? Is this a riddle from one of those fortune cookies Americans seem so fond of?
Perhaps, but I believe he himself does not know what he means to say. I'm still here, by the way.
You are.
In all likelihood, it was a poor attempt to confuse us. We should simply ignore him.
Fuck you! How am I more mad at fucking Nayuta than I am at the fucking queen?
Her confidence is earned. This dude's lost like 4 times.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Also, like, the queen is good at what she does. Nayuta is not.
Exactly, yeah. I wasn't finished yet, so hold off on the analysis, would you? The autopsy report never stated that the minister's death was instantaneous. So, he could have conceivably been moved from one place to another after being stabbed. Oh my, are you suggesting he ran all the way to the tube with a knife sticking out of his back? Well, yes, that's the gist of it.
In short, Minister Inga saw Nena with a knife, let out a scream, and when he turned his back to her to flee.
Right, that's when he was stabbed from behind. Well, Your Majesty, does my theory hold water?
How dare you bore me like this?
Huh?
You are a humorless moron spewing an endless stream of unamusing drivel.
I wasn't trying to be funny, Your Eminence.
Prosecutor, enlighten this ignorant clown in lawyer's clothing. Even her insults are better.
Your Eminence. Ha!
Not again.
Nayuta. You dull, slow-witted, putrid-minded lawyer.
God. Ah.
Perhaps you would be too stupid to notice if you had been stabbed in the back. But a normal person would have not noticed due to the excruciating pain. Now, hold on. Allow me to teach you the meaning of pain. Please stop!
Nayuta has a point. Normally, most people would notice a dagger in their back.
Ow. Yeah, I guess someone could ignore pain like this.
Still, in this case, it's the word normally that we should emphasize. Apollo, take another look at the court record.
Right. There must be something that explains this. There's a reason Inga didn't feel any pain. And the defense will submit evidence proving just that. Very well. Please present your evidence. Why didn't Justice Minister Inga notice that he had been stabbed?
Oh, there we go.
You were just wondering.
Yeah. Those are my father's painkiller shots.
The defense will explain the significance of this evidence. Minister Inga suffered from terrible back pain, so he often injected himself with these. We're told that one shot in the back would make all his pain go away. With this, it's easy to explain what happened. Don't tell me you didn't know about these, Your Eminence.
You can't mean...
Minister Inga was stabbed in his back, close to where he usually injected the painkiller. Therefore, it's entirely possible he hadn't noticed that he'd been stabbed.
What?
Watch this.
Is this a good pursuit theme? No, I think the one from Dual Destinies is better.
Yeah, I like the one from Destiny's more, too.
The one from Dual Destinies is, I think, the best one in the series. Because
It's up there. I like Apollo Justice a lot, though.
the one from the original trilogy is basically just Phoenix's theme, right?
Well, there's 3 different ones in the original trilogy.
Oh no, Objection just becomes Phoenix's theme, basically.
Yeah.
People complain about that a lot. I've seen that a lot in, like, comments on, like, the videos for the songs. People complain about that, but, like, it's literally just the same as, like, Apollo's themes and Athena's themes. They just, like, they're remixes.
Yeah. Then, are you suggesting Justice Minister Inga really run off with a knife protruding from his back? I am, Your Majesty.
So then, when I saw my father, he had a knife sticking out of him? I mean, with that cave of his, I couldn't see his back very well.
Yes, the knife was there. It was just plunged in so deep that you didn't notice under the cape. Therefore, when you saw your father, he was already dead. Murdered by Nena in his private quarters.
Pokunka!
Holy Mother of Khurain, are we dealing with a living dead here?
Well, technically, he wasn't dead yet.
I know it's hard to believe, but this is a plausible sequence of events. And once Minister Inga arrived at the tomb, he could have removed the knife and dropped dead from blood loss.
Nana killed my father? There must be some mistake.
The defense would like to call Nana to the stand.
You seek to drag an innocent old woman to the stand with no proof whatsoever?
Well, there's no real proof, but...
What a tangled web of expedient lies you weave. I can no longer tell fact from fiction. Who or what shall I believe in now?
Sorry, Rafa. I'll often just confuse you. But I have a sneaking suspicion Nana's involved in this case one way or another.
Just when I thought we'd blown this case wide open.
Well, there's no turning back now.
You fool of a lawyer. I know why you are so desperate to prove the accused innocent.
You do?
Yes, because he faces public execution if proven guilty. As shall you under the stipulations of the Defense Culpability Act. From the moment you accepted this case, you have had no choice but to fight for your lives.
No, the simple fact is I've always believed that Dirk is innocent.
Puh! Still you cling to your pretense. Very well, I shall offer you a bargain. If you would admit that the accused is guilty, right here, right now, I shall overlook your crime of abetting him, and you will not be subject to execution.
Some sort of joke?
Far from it. As queen, I have the power to grant pardons even to criminals like you. And with wave of my hand, I can even reduce the severity of a sentence. Perhaps even for Dirk, should you be willing to cooperate.
She wasn't kidding when she said that she's the law here.
She's fucking doing a plea bargain. Hey Mina?
Yeah?
I think this game is saying things.
It might be saying a few things.
It might be saying some stuff about some things, maybe?
Perhaps.
But the flaw
But that would be politics. Politics are bad.
There might be, you know, I understand a politic in a game is not good. So that's
but it
why
also
we
is a
say,
sexy woman. Sexy women are anti-politics.
That's true. And that's why we say that this game has themes of politics.
Ah, very clever. Just like Metal Gear Solid.
Just like Metal Gear Solid. Exactly. Just like BioShock. I almost said BioWare. Just like BioWare games. I mean, I guess that is the case with BioWare games in general. But that one has gay people, so that one is obviously politics. But yeah, this has themes of politics. It's not political.
Wow.
But to flaunt that power in our faces like that, that's just wrong.
Forget all that has transpired in our kingdom and return to your own country in peace. Well, will you abandon your defense of the accused and accept my generous offer?
This deal will be executed along with Dirk if he's found guilty. What should I do?
Fuck you, Apollo. Why'd you even think about this?
Nice try, Garan, but it looks like you don't know what justice is made of. We don't kowtow to threats like that, Your Eminence. Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, but I can't back down now. I don't want to drag you into this, so...
Don't worry, I'm with you, Apollo. To the better end, if need be. We'll be executed side by side. And while I can't say I'm used to it, this isn't exactly my first rodeo.
I love Phoenix's, like, goofy, forced smile.
Yeah.
So keep on fighting, Apollo. You'll hear no objections from me. Not a one in this entire case, I promise.
You nincompoops! You'll die if you lose this case. Why would you even entertain the notion of continuing?
Aw, she cares about you.
Yeah, that's cute.
I believe Dirk is innocent, that's why. And besides, trials exist to give the truth a chance to get out into the open. You can't give up just because you're afraid of some punishment.
Even if that punishment is death? Does that not frighten you, Hornhead?
Who wouldn't be scared? I mean, just thinking about it. It makes me weak in the knees, to be honest. But as a lawyer, I have a duty to protect my client. I can't just abandon that.
The only time that you can be brave is when you're scared.
Exactly.
A duty you're willing to die for? And yet,
Duty. It's a heavy burden, alright. Rayford looks like she's really struggling.
This is the same scene that we flashed back to earlier.
It's important.
It is. It's the theme of the entire thing.
But it's no surprise considering the torrent of painful truths she's had to face.
Very well then. If the defense is prepared to face the death sentence under the Defense Culpability Act, then I see no reason not to continue with the proceedings. But I must admit, I see no grounds for doubting the accused's guilt.
Unless the defense has further evidence that would indicate a different suspect?
Do we have anything like that?
Well, lawyer, do you have any new evidence you would care to present? Or shall I have the executioner start his preparations?
She thinks I can't do this. We got another thing coming. But first, I have some serious thinking to do. I should have new evidence indicating a different suspect.
Okay, let me look really quickly. Do we have evidence of that kind?
You don't have any evidence of that kind.
I don't have any. What does that mean?
Means that there's an important piece of evidence that you haven't seen yet.
How have we gone this far without having the murder weapon? That's weird, right?
Pretty weird.
Wait, I don't have it, but somebody does.
Someone can provide it for you.
So it is extant. Right?
Yep, it's just another piece of evidence, but it's something important. Oh, wait, why'd you say that? You don't have it.
Because it exists. Okay. Because it exists. The wording on these is maybe not the best.
Take that!
See, it would be better worded. A better way to word it would be, I have it, I don't have it. Not it exists or does not exist. Because, like, obviously it has to exist, otherwise we're fucked.
Such evidence does not exist.
Just as I thought. I was so hoping you'd present meaningless evidence and allow me to claim your head. Uh-huh.
I didn't walk head first into that one then.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Don't worry about it.
So, what now, Apollo?
When he presented the wrong evidence, that was just like a Final Destination style premonition.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That didn't occur. We made that
Well,
one up.
unless we can prove that Nana killed Inga, this trial is over, and so are we.
Isn't there still a way to get the proof we need, even without evidence? You know, a key means of obtaining testimony here in Kurai.
Huh? Wait, are you actually suggesting?
It certainly won't be easy, but it's worth a try.
Your Majesty. A crucial step in uncovering the truth behind this case has yet to be taken in this trial. But I'm positive I can back up our claim with this one step. You mean you will be able to prove that Nana killed Justice Minister Inga? And just how do you propose to do that? With the help of a certain someone. You need help?
From someone?
Well, I can't imagine who it could be. But I suppose I must ask.
MacGyver.
Whose help do you need to uncover the truth?
Rayfa's. We need the seance.
But that's...
Me?
Here in Korean, legal proceedings include the viewing of the victim's final moments. But that requires your benevolence's help. Such information is just as vital as any other piece of conclusive evidence.
If you're right about this, Rayfa's power should enable her to see the very moment Nana stabbed Inga.
It'll be hard to watch your father's murder, but it's the only way to uncover the truth. Your benevolence. We need you and your power.
You need me? Wretched simpleton, did you not see what ensued in the previous attempt? You would only succeed in wasting more time, or is it your goal to make her collapse again?
Princess said she was prepared earlier. Besides, it's her duty as royal priestess. I'd say it's all up to her now.
Am I prepared? Prepared to fulfill my duty?
Isn't a divination seance required at all trials anyway? If so, I imagine there'd be a problem with handing down a verdict without one.
Indeed, it would be problematic. Under Kuraiani's law, a seance must be conducted before a verdict can be rendered. Yikes.
Must you try, my patient so? If I must dispense with that vexing law, then dispense with it I shall.
Huh?
As ruling sovereign of Kurain, I proclaim the following. Oh, you can do that. Henceforth, the divination seance shall be optional.
Her nails are also, her acrylic nails are also freaking paintbrushes.
That's rad as hell.
What? She has the power to do that?
She just rewrote the law with a flourish of her hand.
Mother, I do not wish for the trial to end like this. It is as the defense said. I must not neglect my duties simply because I am afraid. I shall go through with it this time. I will conduct the seance once more. Rayfa, do not be fooled by his lawyerly guile. You are not prepared to witness your father's death. But Hornhead needs my help. Rayfa, did you not tell me earlier? Did you not tell me you were prepared? But despite your grandiose posturing, you collapsed in a most piteous fashion. Even worse, you have erred in your insights of late. For has not the barbed one there overturned them more than once? Oh. You cannot be trusted to keep your word, nor can you reveal the truth through your insights. So I say to you, be gone. This sacred hall of justice has no need for such a worthless royal priestess. Worthless?
Wouldn't you say that to her own daughter?
I will say, after earlier in the trial, she demanded that Rayfa do it. But now, she's not so confident, huh?
Yeah, she's like, actually, I'm changing the law.
Yeah, let's not do this, actually. So, Mother, you think me worthless? Do it out of spite! Do it out of spite!
Her benevolence says she can do it, doesn't she? So I don't see why you have to condemn her before she's even made the attempt.
I'm thinking. Very well, Horned Devil. If you really are so bent on having a seance, I shall give my consent.
Really?
However, should Rafa fail once more, you two and the accused shall all be executed on the spot.
And
Wait. So what she's saying is that if Rafa's seance doesn't go her way, then we'll be executed?
if it doesn't work, like if it turns up nothing again.
Oh, so no pressure, right?
Yeah, exactly. She's basically trying to induce another panic attack on her own daughter.
God, she sucks.
Great villain, though.
Great villain. This is proving to be far more entertaining than I had anticipated. Well, lawyer, what say you? Will you wager your life and call on Rafa to perform a divination seance? Yes. We have to.
I don't think you're worthless, your benevolence. Far from it, in fact. You're based.
You're quite based.
If you say you can do it, then I believe in you.
Hornhead, I do not understand. If I fail, you'll be put to death. Then don't fail.
I knew you collapsed during your previous attempt.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, I remember this. This happened like an hour ago, I guess. It's sure cool that I can't skip this. Oh, that was new dialogue. Fuck!
I can't even imagine how terrible it must have been for you. But despite that, you're willing to try again. I have faith in that conviction, in that courage.
My courage? Ah. So she was doomed to fail if she didn't have the courage to perform the seance. But it looks like she's got the determination to try again.
Right. And that's a bet I'm willing to take.
But it is as Mother said, I've erred in my insights as of late. Not only have I failed to reveal the truth, I've also contributed to false accusations. Knowing that, can you still say that you believe in me?
Objection! I wouldn't take stock in those words, your benevolence. Despite what your mother says, I don't think you've made any errors at all.
Huh?
In the trials I've been a part of here in Kurine, I would have never proven my client's innocence without your seances. Because even though they didn't always reflect the absolute truth, the insight they provided served as vital leads to finding the truth.
Vital leads? My seances?
Oh, please, your benevolence. Try to perform the divination seance one more time.
Rafa, stop this madness. It is for your own good. You are ill prepared to face your father's death. Go, leave this sacred hall at once. No encouragement from Mother. No. What did you say? I said no, Mother. For I am the royal priestess of Kurine. I have no need for you now. Even if you do not need me, Mother. Hornhead in this Hall of Justice do. He proved that to me by risking his own life. It is because of him that I now understand. The divination seance is my sacred duty. I must fulfill it no matter the risk. Rafa.
Your benevolence.
Mother taught me that the divination seance was a mere reflecting not but the truth. But I began to have my doubts after Barbed had disproved the insights it offered. And now, I don't even know who or what to trust anymore. Father, Mother, even Nana, I had believed in them above all others. But I finally know now. I know in what I can trust. The royal priestess must debate each seance with the presiding lawyer and prosecutor. So that it can be interpreted properly. That is how I believe trials here in Kurine should function. Therefore, the Hall of Justice needs me. It is my power that leads trials toward the truth. Oh, it's doing... Oh. It's doing some hitching. That is my sacred duty.
No crash.
And I will never shirk from it again.
That right there, your benevolence, is the product of what you've learned in your struggles so far. The truth that you realize with your own strength.
As my sacred duty, I must ensure that it is fulfilled. I must have the courage and resolve to see it through.
Your Eminence, the Royal Priestess says she will conduct the divination seance. I see no grounds for you to forbid it. Unless, of course, you were worried that it might reveal something you find inconvenient.
Oh, she's backed into a corner now, huh?
Yeah, I see people criticizing this case as like, oh, why doesn't she just stop at any time to execute them? It's like, because her authority is being undermined.
Yeah.
Like,
and like,
if
hey,
she...
there's literally a revolution at the door.
Exactly, yeah. This is the time where she has to project strength. Because if
Yeah.
she looks like a coward, or looks like she's scared, then like the revolution just becomes stronger than ever.
Yeah, exactly. This is her one and only chance to quell the rebellion for good. And if she shows weakness or like indecision or like shows being unfair more so than ever, she's also fucked. Because they will break down that fucking door and put her head on a spike. Mother, I am done letting you have your way. Rafa, you would actually rebel against me, your mother and queen. Though I am scared to see my father's death. I must face my fear. That is what Hornhead has taught me here today. I love that smug smile being utilized against her mother and the queen.
It's great. It's so great. I love Rafa so much.
She's so
She's the best.
powerful.
I am the royal priestess.
Still not her voice, though. She took off her own jacket.
Yeah.
I am
Empowered.
to face my father's death.
Oh, so when I said that we were gonna watch her last dance before, that wasn't her last dance.
That wasn't her last dance, no.
Your Eminence, it seems the priestess is more grown up than you thought.
Rafa.
Well then, let us proceed with the divination seance. The victim's final moments. This should be interesting. I wonder what Inga's memories are going to show us.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
God, they really have to do the whole thing so it can have the zoom in on the pool and then have the transition into the actual gameplay. Uh-oh. Oh. BlueStacks, you doing alright? You know what? Can we can skip this one. We saw it in this trial already. It's fine.
Bit right? Bit right?
Oh no. Is it dying for you?
Yeah, it's frozen for me.
Oh no!
Give me a sec, let's see if I can fix it.
Huh. What? He does have Brad Pitt disease. Oh. Oh. It tried very hard to crash there. Is it still frozen for you?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, it's back. Hold on. Oh, no, it froze again.
Oh my
Oh, there we go.
God.
Okay. I see you're saying, I see your line. I see your line. That's good enough.
Okay. If it fucks up again, let me know. Ugh,
I will.
what in the...
Faceless being? What the heck? His face, it's just like the picture of the founder.
I think that's the last thing anyone expected to see.
Oh, Father, what was it? What was it you saw?
Wait, do you understand that this was the last thing the victim saw?
Yes, there can be no mistake. That was what my father himself witnessed.
How very strange. You don't suppose the Holy Mother possessed the accused and slew Minister Inga for planning a coup?
What? What?
Talk about a sharp left turn to the Twilight Zone.
Don't you mean the Twilight Realm?
No, he means the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but it...
He's actually invoking the TV series.
No, I know.
You know, there's one thing there that caught my attention. That laugh. Who does it belong to and why are they laughing?
Who knows? Though I suppose it could be Dirk after he slew my husband.
Huh? I figured it didn't have a mouth.
Yep. Ho ho ho. I think we're done here, lawyer.
How so?
You claimed that Minister Inga was stabbed in his private quarters, and feeling no pain, went to the tomb where he eventually fell dead. But the seance vision proves he was stabbed in the tomb and felt great pain, no less.
Oh, that.
Therefore, as I asserted all along, it was the accused who stabbed the minister in the tomb.
Just backfired big time.
Wow. Quran has the devil's own luck, doesn't she?
Now then, I shall give voice to the soul of the deceased. Listen well and heed these words. At around 3 p.m., my father was waiting in the tomb to make the hostage exchange. He was drinking grape juice while gazing upon the picture of the Holy Mother. He had been waiting vigilantly when suddenly he heard Dirk's voice. The next moment he was stabbed in the back and collapsed. My father tried to shoot his attacker, but he missed, and the attacker let out a laugh.
So what now, Mr. Wright?
It's up to us to knock holes in Rafa's interpretations of Inga's memories. In other words, we need to prove that her understanding of them could be mistaken.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Alright, hey, it's been 2.5 hours.
Yeah, let's take a little breaky break.
Let's take a little breaky break, because this is a long trial.
Yeah, it's a very long trial.
Alright. Is it still paused? Yes. Okay, we'll
Yep,
be
still
back.
paused.
Y'all sit tight. I am returned.
Welcome back.
Let's do it. I'm ready. Alright. I'm gonna go. Let's watch through it. Once more.
Sour.
Sour grapes. Okay, wait, hold on. I want to go back to that really quick. Fuck. Why does it do that? Incense get bigger. Man's voice. Pain. Well, boy, that super doesn't look good, does it? But, like... Okay.
Can we take a look at Rafa's statements, too? Yeah, there we go, okay.
How do we know this? We don't know this for sure, because we can't see it, right? We heard Dirk's voice. How do we know it's Dirk's voice? It just says man's voice.
Let it play a little bit longer.
It's going for a while, huh?
Mm-hmm.
If he heard Dirk coming, then, like, why didn't he turn around and do anything about that? Right?
Yeah.
Is that what the thing is?
I think so, yeah. Because if he heard Dirk's voice, why would he turn around, right?
Yeah.
Objection!
The music stopped. That's always a good sign.
Your benevolence, there seems to be an inconsistency in your interpretation.
An inconsistency? Where?
I like how she's like excited about it now.
Yeah.
There's no more like, oh, you insolent fools, you could never prove me wrong. Now it's
You-
like, oh, where, I want to know.
You nincompoop.
Yeah. Minister Inga's far too relaxed for what was supposedly about to take place. When he heard the voice you claim is Dirk's, he didn't seem the least bit alarmed. He just kept looking at the picture of the founder.
Ah!
That's strange, right? He was waiting for Dirk to arrive at the founder's orb. When he heard that voice, he didn't even turn to look. Don't you think he would have been worried about being attacked from behind?
Ugh! Then whose voice was it?
It was likely someone whose presence wouldn't have alarmed him. Someone like a friend.
But there was no third party at the scene of the crime. Therefore, the voice can only have belonged to Dirk.
Voice of a third party who wasn't there in the tomb.
Apollo, don't we have something that could reveal the owner of the mystery voice?
You know, I think we do. Something that Inga had while he was waiting for Dirk. With it, we just might be able to figure out whose voice it was. I believe we can identify the male voice Minister Inga heard with this.
The phone... The picture of Inga's body. Because that has a phone in it. That's... my father's... Sorry, Rafa.
I know this must be hard for you, but could you please look at this photo? There's something here that can point us towards the identity of the voice. This is the real source of that man's voice.
Yeah. A cell phone?
Right. I believe that the voice the minister heard was of a call on this cell phone.
Then who was phone?
I see. Well, that certainly makes sense. What is your eminence's view on the matter?
I concede the possibility. Then it seems I must refine my vision. Subordinate's voice. It appears that the voice belonged to one of my father's subordinates.
Why do you suppose he was talking to one of them, then?
My father had members of the secret police positioned throughout the palace. They were supposed to contact him as soon as they saw Dirk and the rest of you.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Your Benevolence, I believe you have an insight to revise.
I know, Barbed Head. Don't presume to tell me how to do my duty. Didn't we? Okay. Alright, fine. Alright.
So the voice was coming from the phone. That's good to know. But there might have been other sounds coming from the phone. Sounds that could be clues. Let's take another look at Rafa's insights and really focus on the various sensations.
Okay, I can get the hang of this now.
Isn't this way more intuitive than Athena's mood matrix, Apollo?
Sour. Shouldn't grape juice not be sour?
Bad grape juice.
Footsteps. I mean, but like, it makes sense that he'd hear footsteps if he's walking, right? What? What? Lion's roar. I know what that is! That's not a lion. Wait, that's not at the palace.
Yeah.
That would be at the market.
Objection!
I'm so smart.
Your brain is huge.
I have the biggest brain ever.
I hate to break it to your Benevolence, but you misinterpreted something again.
What do you mean? Again?
Smooth move, Apollo. I think you just hurt her feelings. She may put on a brave face, but she feels more than she lets on.
Let me rephrase that, your Benevolence. Your interpretation of your father's phone call to a subordinate at the palace is inconsistent with his final memory.
What do you mean by that?
A lion's roar could be heard over the phone. Don't you find that strange? You claim the call was with someone at the palace. Let me ask you, do you keep lions there?
No. The only animals at the palace are little birdies and my pet frog. Shove pet frog! Rafa good.
Rafa Frog.
Rafa frog.
Wait, that giant one in front of the minister's house is her pet?
Besides, there aren't any lions in Kurine. We don't even have any zoos. A rather sad state of affairs, I'm afraid.
Oh, she wants to see the animals.
I love her.
Well, I remember hearing a sound like that. The lion's roar coming from the phone is actually from something hanging out in...
The bazaar.
Isn't that the cry of the warbot over in the bazaar?
Ah!
Your Benevolence, do you think you can clarify the voice for me?
Very well. I will now attempt to further refine my vision. Okay. What's this?
Just as I suspected, it was the call of the warbot. That means the subordinate Minister Enga was talking to was in the bazaar, not the palace.
But why is it important where the call came from? What significance could it have?
She's right. Is it important to know where the call was made from?
Let me think. Is it? Yeah, 'cause like this policeman probably is one that arrested Dats, right?
Well, look at the time.
At 2 p.m.
That's a full 45 minutes before
Oh!
Dirk even showed up.
Yeah, that's true.
It's actually very important. Knowing that the person that they're in was at the bazaar means that the loud explosion might not have been the sound of a gunshot.
Oh my god, that's why the whole DATS thing happened. but I can think of no other item that makes sort of noise in the area.
Go ahead, Apollo, tell her. Tell Ray for the real source of that sound.
Will do.
Well, Hornhead, I'm waiting. What was the true source of that explosive sound? Do we have that in evidence? Oh. The statement.
Yeah.
This means the very last thing that Inga heard was Dats's stupid laugh. Ah, that's so good.
Imagine going out that way.
That's so good. The fact that
Literally
he
being
heard
laughed at by a rebel.
a doofus rebel's laugh as he died. That's so good. What is that?
It's I'll be your guy's statement. In it, he claims that Datsa Rebel threw a firecracker at him while he was at the bazaar.
Then...
Yes, the sound heard over the phone was a firecracker exploding.
Ah! And yet, a bullet was found at the scene of the crime. A bullet fired from Minister Inga's gun. How do you explain that?
Well, we don't know whether it was fired during the course of the crime, right? Or do you have evidence that proves when the pistol was discharged?
No, I have none.
Wait a second. If that loud bang was a firecracker, then could that laugh at the end have been...
Oh my god, are you serious?
No, it can't be.
Oh, it can. And it is. The laugh came from none other than...
Rebel.
Joker, who got a kick out of startling Albie with the dragon snot snaps. That happy-go-lucky Datsa Rebel.
What?
Someone should really put a leash on that guy.
Congrats, that's you. Being an idiot helped solve a crime.
For once?
I started to think how one man can be the cause of so much trouble.
He's here!
Hey there, AJPW, you can thank me later. No one asked for your commentary, Mr. Rebel. Your benevolence, do you need to revise your insight?
I am pleased as punch about that. It's so good and so silly. It would appear so. Right. What an idiot.
Well, this changes everything. Let's go over the details of Rafa's insight again.
Okay. I think I got this down now. Time to find another inconsistency.
Alright. So...
Oh wait, I'll go back. That's the first one that you need.
Oh yeah, this wouldn't have happened at 3 p.m., would it?
Yeah, so I think we can skip to the final frame, which we can probably just present the explosion.
Oh, why'd you go up there?
Objection!
Your benevolence. There's a glaring problem with this insight.
There is?
You stated that the murder happened at around 3 p.m., which is right around the time my client arrived on the scene. However, now that we know what the source of the loud bang is, your insight conflicts with a certain piece of evidence. I suppose I have to ask the obvious here. What evidence conflicts with the claim that the murder occurred at 3 p.m.?
The same evidence I presented before. That we should have looked at beforehand, if I'm being entirely honest.
I'll be your guy's statement again. Yes, because to summarize what he said, at around 2 p.m., Shadow was surprised by a firecracker and ran into the palace courtyard. Around 2 p.m.? That's right, 2 p.m. not 3 p.m.
Yeah, no shit, Apollo. Are you suggesting? Oh, she angry.
Oh, she's getting nettled. Look at that eye twitch. Look at that eye twitch.
Yeah,
Look at that
I
sexy eye
love
twitch.
it. It's so good.
I think you know where I'm going with this. Datz's laugh, the cry of the warbod, and the bang of the firecracker were all heard right before Minister Inga's death. Thanks to Albie's statement, we can put a definitive timestamp on all of these sounds. Therefore, what this vision shows is that it's extremely likely the deceased's final moments were at 2 rather than 3 as we had originally thought.
Dare I ask?
It means the murder took place a full hour before Dirk even entered the tomb.
But Polkunka! Ugh, how can this be? Are you saying that I, the very personification of the law, have been mistaken? Oh,
Oh,
goodbye, Nails.
heh. Now you see why justice will always prevail. That would hurt so much.
That would
hurt
really,
so much.
That would suck.
I guess it depends on what adhesive she used, but if it's like standard glue, then yeah, no, your
Yeah.
entire nails are coming off with those.
Yeah. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
That's why I had to actually think about how Kismet fights, because you
Yeah.
can't make your hands into fists.
No, you gotta do that like Twitter video. You have
Yeah, you gotta do, like, some
the acrylic
Baji-Kwan.
nails.
Yeah, like some Baji Kwan, like palm strikes and backhands and whatever.
Yeah.
Peace, peace, I say. Now then,
Okay.
defense.
Okay, bye, Judge.
I must remind you that the figure of the accused was clearly shown in the vision. How do you explain that?
It wasn't clearly shown, though.
I wouldn't say it was clearly shown. After all, the figure didn't actually have a face. Ah, you're absolutely right. Without a face, we can't be certain of who it was. Furthermore, I need to remind you that if the vision is from 2 p.m., Dirk was still with me and Mr. Wright. Which means this faceless figure couldn't possibly be him. So then, what do we make of this 1 hour difference?
Wait, it's at 2 o'clock? That's when... Oh! My mother was performing the rite of channeling.
House guards have all been reassigned to guard the channeling chamber for the rite. Don't tell me.
The royal residence, it would have been virtually unguarded.
Which means the real killer could have easily slipped unseen into Omara's tomb. Defense, are you saying that this is someone disguised as the accused? That's exactly what I believe, Your Majesty. Preposterous. Disguise is going to deceive the memories of the dead. Not to face it on Depere this time was mere happenstance. Had it Depere, such refuge would have been as clear as day.
No.
Not a point there.
No, he doesn't.
Anyone who knows about the divination seance would have tried to hide their face. Nevertheless, our killer openly appeared before Inga. The question is, why?
Because Inga don't see faces. Apollo, maybe the killer could afford to be so bold. Because they knew their face wouldn't show up in the seance vision.
What?
It's possible that the killer dared to dress in Dirk's clothes and stand square in front of Inga.
Precisely because they knew they could get away with it. But how could anyone be so sure of something like that?
A long time ago, I heard of a cognitive disorder. I think Brad Pitt has it. That impairs a person's ability to distinguish between different faces. What if Inga had it?
And are you saying that this is literally how Inga saw the world?
Yes, we can't normally see through the eyes of others, but in this case we can. And if he had that disorder, I imagine this is how faces appear to him in life.
Okay, let's say the killer knew that Inga had such a condition. They could definitely use it to pin the crime on Dirk. But
If you're wondering about how to prove that Inga had it, you'll already have what you need.
really? Well, in defense, do you have anything to show to this court? Yeah, from what I gather, just from like talking to nurses and doctors about my great uncle, is that like it doesn't make you see nothing; it just makes you see everything the same.
Wait.
So it's like it's the same face on everyone, just indistinguishable.
Oh. That's wild. That's
Yeah,
almost
like,
more
this is a-
wild than not seeing a face.
Yeah, I know. I think, weirdly enough, the most accurate representation of it, based on what I know about it that I've seen, was in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where there was a stand that gave that effect on you.
Huh.
And it just, like, everyone has the same body and, like, clothes and whatever, but their faces are identical.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah. Yes, I believe so. Frankly, I have no idea what Mr. Wright means, but I'll look at the evidence over again. What explains why the face of Minister Inga's killer is absent in the seance vision? A notepad.
My brain is so huge.
It is.
But I called all of this, like, so early.
It's almost as if the foreshadowing and establishing in this case is really good.
Almost. No, it's exclusively because my brain is huge.
Yes, it was found in Minister Inga's room. And it holds the answer we're looking for. As you can see, it's filled with detailed notes on various individuals. What kind of clothes they wear, hairstyles, and other discerning physical characteristics. It is connected to the faceless nature of the killer. How? The vision we saw was exactly what Minister Inga saw with his own eyes. It is he who saw the killer as a person without a face. In fact, this is how he normally saw everyone around him. What's this? I believe Minister Inga had a disorder that prevented him from recognizing faces. It would explain the faceless being, and why he needed a notepad full of people's physical characteristics.
Now that I think about it, my father was always terrible at remembering people. Sorry, I still have some of the effects of the panic attack.
This is actually so cleverly foreshadowed, because when Phoenix appears, when Inga appears for the second time, at the end of case 3, or no, sorry, midway through
Inga
case 3.
doesn't like recognize him. There's no like.
Yeah, he goes in, "Who are you?" when you show up.
Yeah, which you can obviously read as like him not really giving all that much of a shit about who Phoenix Wright is, but also just him genuinely not recognizing him.
Exactly, yeah. It's one of those like cool like reframing things.
Yeah, that's really good. By simply changing my hairstyle, he would fail to recognize even me.
Your Eminence. You knew your husband had such a disorder, didn't you? You're like, where are you going with this?
He never wished for it to become public knowledge. But I suppose there is no use in keeping quiet about it now. It is as you say. My late husband had a special disorder that hindered his ability to recognize faces. The medical term for it is prosopagnosia.
But Mr. Wright was right.
Of course he is, it's his name. The memories of those afflicted with such disorders in life do appear strange at times. There is precedent for this.
So the killer likely knew about the disorder and used it to their advantage.
Right, so there's someone who's knowledgeable about both the divination seance and aware of Inga's affliction. Your Eminence?
Hey, Your Eminence, did you kill Inga?
Who knew about your husband's condition?
A small number of servants who tended to his needs. And me. Surely you are not about to insinuate that I committed this crime.
Oh, no, Your Eminence. Still, could she have done it?
Guan has an alibi, remember?
Oh, right. She was conducting the rite of channeling at 2 p.m.
That's true.
In that case.
She did have her titties out at 2.
Yeah. Your Eminence, does Nana know about Minister Inga's disorder?
Of course she does. She is our head servant.
So, as head servant, she knew about Minister Inga's condition. And as the princess's personal attendant, she is familiar with the divination seance. If those two facts together don't make her a possible suspect, I don't know what would.
You witless lawyer, how quick you are to forget the facts.
Facts like...
When Ingo was last seen alive, you claim he was slain at 2, yet that is impossible. For Rafa saw him at 2:30. Oh yeah!
Ah!
We did completely forget about that. I completely forgot about that!
Oh, there must be some mistake.
So you see, the murder could only have happened at 3 p.m. The hour Dirk entered the tomb. There is no other answer to this puzzle.
Why don't we ever get to make up answers like Quran makes up laws?
Guess it's back to square one.
Where did we go wrong?
I don't think we're the problem. We just seem to be short one piece of the puzzle. Our deductions so far explain everything to a T. Everything except for Inga's sighting at 2:30.
I see. We'll have that final puzzle piece. All of our deductions fall apart.
Apollo, if Inga's sighting is the only anomaly, we'll just have to find a way to make it fit into the bigger picture.
I don't think outside the box then, right? Let's see. It would be impossible to see Inga walking around after he'd been killed. But what if there was a way to make people think he was alive even though he was dead?
Like a way to make people witness the living dead. Man, you guys are real... I mean, okay, here's the thing. I'm not too mad about this because I already had it in my head. But, like, they're really driving it home what the answer here is.
Yeah. It sounds like some kind of TV show. Things like that don't happen in real life.
Hey, Apollo, where are you? Apollo, did you just...
I did. I figured it out. I know how to make people witness the living dead.
She was doing a seance at 2 o'clock, wasn't she? Or not a seance, a channeling at 2 o'clock.
But it was for a different nation, though.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that she couldn't have done another one after.
I mean, I guess, but, like, it's a pretty solid alibi, because if he was killed right at 2, like, she couldn't have been there for that.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that she couldn't know that he was dead.
So, but at most, that makes her an accomplice, though, not the murderer.
That is true. Fuck.
Yeah, but the fact is, there's a photograph of her doing something else elsewhere at 2. So
there is a photograph with her titties out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Your Majesty, our deduction wasn't wrong after all. Despite Minister Inga being murdered at 2 p.m.
But she's the only one in Kurine who can do this.
Well,
there's...
She would have been.
What? Huh?
So what do you need to become Queen in Kurine?
Oh! Oh! There is another queen, isn't there? There is, in fact, another queen. And also Maya, I guess, who we're not gonna say is a suspect because she was kidnapped. How long was Maya kidnapped for?
Like 6 days, remember?
Oh yeah, it was a while.
Yeah. It's okay, she had snacks.
It was a fucking minute. Okay.
Despite Minister Inga being murdered at 2 p.m. He was seen heading into the tomb at 2:30, and I'll tell you how. I certainly hope you will. Because I have no idea what you're talking about. The Minister Inga her benevolence saw was, in fact, it was the deceased being channeled. It's the only way a man who was already dead could have been seen by her benevolence. Channeled, you say? That's right. And there are only 2 people capable of spirit channeling here in
No,
Kurain.
Apollo, there's currently 3.
Her Eminence Queen Garon and Maya Fey. It's possible that one of them is channeling the minister.
It would seem that you are ever bent on making me party to this crime. Where'd you get your nails back? Hey. Alright.
Has whatever goons under the desk. Little one-man nail salon.
Yeah. Prosecutor, what was I doing at 2:30 p.m., the time at which my husband was seen?
Evidence. I believe you had completed the channeling rites and were having tea with the king of the neighboring realm. There would have been many attendants there, too. Nayuta has to keep up with her schedule, too. What doesn't she make him do?
Then that leaves only Maya.
Yeah, it does.
Hey, Apollo, are you trying to implicate Maya in a murder? We shouldn't be doing that.
Maybe someone was forcing her to use her powers towards nefarious ends. The real killer could have been threatening her.
That cannot be! So then, Inga's scream, that was probably from when he woke up from being called back to this world. After all, that's when the flow of time would have picked back up for him after he died.
So Minister Inga probably leapt to his feet thinking he just had a nightmare. Then, realizing it was almost time for the hostage exchange, he raced off to Amara's tomb, not even realizing he was already dead. But then, her benevolence really did see a dead man walking?
Oh. Fucking destroyed her.
Using the sacred power of a spirit channeling to commit a crime? How could this be?
It's happened more than once.
The defense calls Miss Maya Fey to the stand.
Can we?
Well, your evidence? Will you allow a new witness?
It matters not. Either way, this lawyer shall soon know the truth. He will know just how much of an imbecile he is in the face of my infallible arguments.
Insult me all you want, bitch. You'll be eating those words once I expose the truth.
Oh, man.
That's right, I think things I would never say.
Oh, that's good.
If a stream goes by and we haven't made at least 4 Simpsons references, I'll think there's something wrong with us.
There always has, yeah. There always has to be a bunch. We are the new super best friends. That's what we are.
Exactly.
Minus one shitty dude.
Alright, well, let's adjourn until the next witness is ready.
Making someone think that their death was just a nightmare kind of fucked up. Yeah. Oh. Fuck. Well, this is a crossroads for the stream now. Is this the halfway point of the trial?
Just about, yeah. There's a hell of a lot to go. There's at least, like, there's after this, there's one more break until the end.
How long until that break?
I can't remember. It's
Must be a while. It must be a while then. All right, how about this? How about we call the stream here and then we finish this on Wednesday?
That sounds good to me.
And then next week, I don't know, we can do Turnabout Time Traveler in a stream? Because apparently it's not that long? It's 2 streams?
It's standard case. Like, it'll take 2 streams for sure.
Okay, so
it's not super long, but it's at least as long as like a case 2 or 3 from another game.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll finish this on Wednesday, and then we will do Turnabout Storyteller next week, and then we have no more mainline Ace Attorney!
I know.
That's so sad. No more Maya? At least we'll have Emma. Right?
Well, they still have Emma.
Not even for a while! Because, like, we're doing Great Ace Attorney before we're doing Miles Edgeworth.
May I make a prediction?
Uh-huh.
Over the course of the Great Ace Attorney games, you're gonna get so attached to these characters, like, they'll be extremely upset there's only 2 games of them.
Really?
There are some
Okay.
really good, very charming characters in those games.
I saw PK saying that like the Great Ace Attorney has the best cast of all the games.
I think he's got some
in his
I think he's
honest
got
opinion.
I think he's got some recency bias
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's a great cast. I love both of those games a lot. Like the second one is in my top 3 in the series. But I think a little bit of distance is required to fairly judge them. I think as a package they're phenomenal, but yeah, they are great. There are some individual characters that I think are some of the best in the series.
I mean, Maya is just the best character in Ace Attorney, as far as I'm concerned. Well, is she? She's my favorite, but is she the best?
One thing I think they'll really appreciate about Great Ace Attorney is that the lead attorney assistant dynamic is inverted, in that Ryunosuke is a friggin' weirdo, and Susato is very straight-laced by comparison, even if she has her quirks.
Interesting.
So there's some really fun moments where he'll do or say something really stupid, and she'll yell at him for being such a moron.
That's fun.
Like he for some reason at one point he claims he doesn't know what a teacup is, and she yells at him, "It's like, you know what a teacup is. I've seen you get them so many times."
Shut the fuck up. I think
It's really good.
I think Emma Sky is my favorite. Is the best character in Ace Attorney. But like that's
Yeah.
that's including Rise from the Ashes. Because you have to, because it's in the HD trilogy. I think Emma, her characterization throughout the series is really good, and the way that she grows is immensely satisfying. Seeing her go from like starry-eyed kid to grumpy adult to like adult who has finally found her path in life and is happy is really, really good. So yeah, I think she's the best character. I mean, Phoenix is the best character in Ace Attorney. That's not even fair to. It's not even fair to like say that he is, because he is by default. Because like, that's a dad. He's such a dad,
right
and he's
there.
such just like a genuinely good person. Like Phoenix is just the best character. And it sucks that like all 6 of these games still wind up being his games. Even though this one is more Apollo focused than Apollo Justice was.
Yeah, like the last case alone has more Apollo than all of Apollo Justice. So
Yeah, exactly. So like I like Athena a lot too. I don't think she's the best character in Ace Attorney though. Or anywhere near it. Because she does, like, they hate women. They do not like women in this series. They always, like, it's always focused on men. And, like, they try to write the women out as much as possible in the sequel trilogy. It's really weird.
yeah, it
Like,
is weird.
Trucy's around for, like, a case in this game, and then she's basically sidelined for every other case, and then she's in one case of Dual Destinies and is in it for like 2 minutes? That's it? Really? And Athena has one case in Dual Destinies and it's not even really her case?
I think the funniest thing, the funniest thing that's so emblematic of how this franchise treats women, I'm going to post it in the stream chat here, is this tweet they made for International Women's Day, in which whatever intern was responsible for photoshopping these characters into the background accidentally bored a hole into Athena's
Oh
ponytail.
yeah, right, I remember. No, didn't people think that this was some kind of ARG or something? 'Cause,
I think some people...
A lot of these images had those holes in them.
Yeah, no, it's just they just got a bit overzealous with the erase tool by accident.
Yeah. But they're right. Ace Attorney wouldn't be what it is today without excellent women. They're correct. Like, Ace Attorney definitely wouldn't be what it is without Mia at the very least. Or Maya. Definitely Maya. Definitely the Fays are, like, instrumental to what Ace Attorney is.
Yeah. It's really cute, someone in the comments saying, where is Justine Courtney, who is a character exclusive to Investigations 2? It's like, buddy, they're not going to acknowledge. Yeah, they are not going to acknowledge that game until they have an HD remake ready. So
yeah. I did like the tutorial of that game. That game looks rough. It was on the DS.
Yeah. It was on the DS. It's a little bit rougher around the edges, but it's still
I say this because it's going to be wild going from HD Trilogy to the HD Android ports of the sequel trilogy.
Great Ace Attorney, which has the best
Great Ace
presentation
Attorney,
of the entire franchise.
And then to Miles Edgeworth Investigations 1, which I assume also has an HD port for Android.
Yeah, it does.
And then to Miles Edgeworth Investigations 2 on the DS. It's gonna be a weird shift in aesthetic.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit rough. We'll have to figure out how to orient the screens on stream, of whether we just want to do like tower mode, or if we want to put them side by side, or what.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Fuck, streaming DS games sucks. It's the worst. I'm gonna have to make I'm gonna have to make a whole new overlay for that, I think, just to make it work. Ugh. I'll think about that later. We don't have to think about that for a long time. Alright. That's the end of the stream.
What do you think of the case so far?
It's really fucking good. I've said this after every stream we've done of this case. It's really fucking good.
It sure is.
It's the best one in the case. It's the best one in the sequel trilogy by far. And I haven't even reached the conclusion of it yet. The last case of Dual Destinies was good, but I don't think it's as good as this. Because it's still bogged down by the lack of quality that is Dual Destinies.
Plus, this one's 2 cases in 1.
Yeah, exactly. 3! Because we have the one at the start, and then we have 2 murders that we're doing in this trial.
Technically 3, yeah, you're right.
Technically 3. So it's like, this is a big conclusion. This is the last Ace Attorney game ever. God, 7's never coming out, huh? They're never gonna talk about it.
Someday.
It was in the leak.
It was in the leak along with the 4, 5, 6 trilogy, so...
Yeah, they just haven't... God, imagine if they do that after we finish Spirit of Justice. I would be... I will legitimately be furious, but also be like, thank you, because this just means you still have some dedication to Ace Attorney.
Yeah. I'm not sure how Great Ace Attorney Chronicles did in the West, but I hope it sold well.
So do I. I mean, with the number of people who have said that it's, like, incredibly... Like, people have been raving about it since it came out. So
yeah,
I imagine it hopefully sold well. But, like, games that are received well critically don't always sell the best.
Yeah, and I mean, even in Japan, the original releases of Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2 sold abysmally poor. Like, the first one only sold 50,000 copies total.
What?
And the second one only sold 20,000 total.
Oh, no fucking wonder they don't want to do Ace Attorney anymore.
Yeah, it sucks, because I think if they had released them together, they would have been a lot more successful. But because they released the first one, it had no indication they were doing a second one, so people played the first one, were like, wow, that was kind of unsatisfying and didn't resolve all the mysteries.
Yeah.
And then the second one came out, and they're like, well, I don't really feel like continuing with this.
Yeah, because, like...
And they missed out on the best part.
they kind of created an expectation that Ace Attorney games come in trilogies. So...
Yeah, that's true.
There's the idea that the Great Ace Attorney 2 might just be another unsatisfying ending to trick you into buying a third game. Like, yeah, weird.
Yeah, according to some admittedly sketchy sales numbers,
yeah,
Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is in the top 5 best-selling Switch games of the year, but I'm sure Metroid Dread bumped it off of there.
Depends on how high it is in the ranking. I would assume it to be 5th in the top 5, if I'm being completely frank.
It looked like it, and I'm not even sure if I can trust these sales figures because they're from Reddit. So
that is still not terrible though, considering how much it sells on the Switch.
The Steam Play Tracker, according to this, it sold over 64,000 copies on Steam. So that's still not amazing, but let's hope that
console sales were better.
Yeah, and that physical sales make up some of the gaps as well, because it was on PS4 and Switch as well.
It was on PS4?
Yep.
Oh. That's not a platform that I would expect to find that game on.
Yeah, I think it's the... Well, sorry, the HD Trilogy also came out on PS4, but aside from that, this is the first Ace Attorney game on there. Yeah. HD Trilogy was on everything. That's why when they said the HD Trilogy has surpassed 1 million copies, I was like, that's good, but it was on like 5 different consoles, so I certainly hope that it surpassed 1 million copies.
Yeah. Did Dave Jaffe also get stuck on the first screen of the Great Ace Attorney? You know what sucks about David Jaffe?
Everything?
A lot, but that I sometimes agree with some of his opinions.
Oof.
And that, like, personally, I despise Metroid's opaque design choices that they have stuck with since the fucking first one, that oftentimes lead you to wandering around a series of hallways for a fucking hour because the game does not effectively signpost where you're supposed to go. Fucking Metroid Dread. No, fucking Metroid Fusion. Rife with that shit.
I heard that Dread's a lot better. I know, like, a friend who had never played Metroid before and was like, oh yeah, every time they give you a new upgrade, there's a place to use it right outside the door that takes you to the next area.
Like, I played through Zero Mission, AM2R, Super Metroid, and Fusion. Fusion is the one that I consistently got lost on the most. Which is funny, because it's the most linear one as well. Yeah. But, like, it's just, like, a lot of... These tiles look exactly the same, and there's no indication that you are able to break them unless you use one of your very, 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 very limited super bombs. That is the only way you will know if you are able to go through this wall here. Ever. Because the camera doesn't shift a little bit past where it normally would. It just stays static where it should be if it's a normal wall. Fuck Metroid Fusion. I don't like that game very much. Also, it brought back the Mother Brain boss fight, which is like the worst fucking boss fight in, I think, video game history. Not the Mother Brain fight from Super Metroid. That one's good. The original Mother Brain fight, where she's in a fucking jar, and you have to stand on a tiny little platform. You got little turrets shooting donuts at you. They brought that back. So mad. And then apparently they brought it back in Dread as well.
I honestly don't remember that from Fusion. Maybe I should replay it.
It's not Mother Brain in Fusion. It's a Chozo statue with plants.
Oh, right. Okay, I do remember that then.
But it's designed the exact same as the Mother Brain fight in previous games. Aside from the fact that you now have 2 platforms and you can actually destroy the things that are spitting things at you now. Doesn't make the fight much more bearable, but it at least makes it doable quickly.
I'm excited to eventually play Dread because, like, the Emmy encounters look like the SAX, except they're actual, like, immersion gameplay instead of being set pieces.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, it's like Nemesis instead of being Mr. X in the original Resident Evil games.
Exactly.
Man, they just stole that from Resident Evil, didn't they? Wait, when did Fusion come out? What did Resident Evil? Yeah, Resident Evil 2 would have been out by then. That was PS1,
Resident
baby.
Evil 2 was 98 and 3 was 99, so...
Yeah. I'm excited to totally legitimately play Metroid Dread. Anyway.
Make sure your Switch can handle it, alright?
Yeah. I'm not going to stream it. I'm just gonna play it for myself. I don't stream games that I acquire through that legitimate means. generally speaking. Unless it's like an old game that's hard to come by, you know, like Mizurna Falls or Miles Edgeworth Investigations 2.
I still think we should do a fundraiser stream to get you your own Switch sometime, just so you can play No More Heroes 3 and Bayonetta 3.
I was so tempted to buy Travis Strikes Again the other day after I got money for doing the Transition Commission. But then I was like, what did I buy instead? I can't remember. Oh, I bought the Greatest Turn. No, I didn't. That was from donations, wasn't it? What the fuck did I buy? Hold on.
Snacks?
It was something on Steam. I know I bought Inscription. Oh no, it wasn't the fucking license for MIRC because Charles donated for that. What the fuck did I buy? I know I bought Inscription. Needle donated for me to get Darkest Dungeon 2. I don't remember anything. Yeah, Greatest Attorneys from donations from Cookie and not Cookie. I can't remember anything. I don't know where my money goes sometimes. I go into a fugue state when I need retail therapy.
The spirit of good purchases washed over you.
Yeah. Okay, we should end the stream. We've been sitting here for like almost half an hour just talking shit, which is fine. At least we're doing it while we're done playing a game, and not while we're in the middle of playing a game.
Very true.
All right. So, like I said, we're gonna. Hey, let's go to the schedule screen actually. If I can do that. All right. Hey, guess what we're doing tomorrow? We're doing Mizurna Falls with Val. I have to remind Val that we're starting an hour later tomorrow. If Val's not here. Val's probably here and hears me saying this right now, so I'm excited. We actually made progress in Mizurna Falls and got to the first day without the game crashing.
Nice. Very
exciting. That game's weird. I like it a lot. It's very fun. It's a lot of people don't get the vibe of games that I have a good time streaming. Cardinal Sinful, during the last Mizurna Falls streams, said, this game seems like more trouble than it's worth. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm playing it. Like, you don't understand. This is the kind of game that I live for. The kind of game that is, like, ludicrously ambitious and fails. Not for lack of hard work, but just because that's how it was always going to be. Because the hardware doesn't match the ambition.
That's just how it is on this bishop on Earth.
Yeah, Mizurna Falls is a really interesting game. I like it a lot. I think it's very funny. God, I'm so excited for Darkness and Dungeons again this week.
Yeah, that's gonna be really fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, someone also said Bloodborne PSX looks bad to play, and I'm like, yeah, that's why it looks good. It's a PlayStation 1 remake. Of course it looks bad to play. PS1 games suck to play. But I think PS1 is like my favorite generation of like games. You don't really... Actually, now that I think about it, it's really ironic that I say that, but don't like N64 games. PS1 games just have an entirely different vibe that I think I appreciate.
They're disc-based. They hit different.
Yeah. I think they weirdly have a more like... that they have more of the jaggy, kind of pixely aesthetic that I like a lot. That I think is really good. Like, nobody makes throwback N64 games, right? People make throwback PS1 games. Like, you got, what the fuck is the guy that makes all these, like, little horror games?
Horror?
Punch Combo. No, something like that. Something
Kitty Horror Show also. She also does a bunch of them like that.
Puppet Combo. Kitty Horror Show does a lot of those. Anatomy is really good. Kitty Horror Show does really good shit.
Anatomy is probably my favorite horror game of all time, even though it takes, like, under an hour to beat.
Yeah, Anatomy's really, yeah, it's incredibly good.
It made me feel the most existential dread of anything I've ever experienced.
Was Yooka-Laylee an N64 throwback?
It was, like, in terms of gameplay, but not in terms of aesthetic.
Yeah. I mean, there is the filter to make it look like an N64 game, right? But that was added.
I wouldn't really count
that was
though.
added later as well.
And that was because the team, you know, is just known
They-
for making.
They
N64
literally
games.
worked on Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64 and all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
of course they would include that. But also I feel like Yooka-Laylee is more spiritually similar to like Spyro and that generation of platformers, not necessarily N64 platformers. Even though they are collectathons still, but like they feel a lot more open. No, I guess Banjo-Kazooie was really open too, huh? I should play Banjo-Kazooie on stream. Okay,
I'll have to do that with you.
I gotta end the stream. I love you all. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or night. And as always, a good sleep.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.